All right. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cryptic Heartland Podcast. We are back for another week. 3 weeks in a row, even.
Holy cow.
Mind you, I know, right? I'm going for a record. This is episode number 9. I'm about to say 85.
No.
95. Sorry. We're all sleep deprived.
It's a 5-episode countdown to number 100.
That's scary to think about that. But yeah, that's cool. No, it's been a long time coming. Like I said, we've been wanting to do this for a while. Jason will be with us in just a second. He had to run outside real quick here, but you see Jake and you see myself, and Mr. Roberts will be here in just a few minutes. In the meantime, before he gets in here, I can hear him coming downstairs, I think. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that little notification, hit that bell, because when we go live,
right.
you go live with us.
Know about it.
Yeah. We've been busy behind the scenes, and I just realized I forgot something. Hang on. There we go. I'm back. Forgot to turn the lights on. And got to pay the bills, I guess. But anyways, we're live. See all the people joining us. Hey, guys, what's up? Chaos is present. What's up, y'all? I'm glad y'all can join us here. We're going to have a fun episode tonight. We're going to be talking about, hopefully we can get it going here, we're going to be talking about our experiences the time we went to Tahlequah. You've heard us talk about it many times before, just briefly, bits and pieces, but Jason and I, here comes Jason right now, speaking of.
Yep.
Right? Oh, yeah, I thought he was coming in.
Right.
Can you get in? Okay. We announced that you were coming in late, so he's coming. Sorry, people. You can walk right in. Oh, you were still going to get in.
I don't want to be a part of the show anymore.
But anywho's, we're talking about the time we went to Tahlequah. Jason and I got to go investigate firsthand on multiple occasions. Jake and Dan and them guys never got to. Roth got to with us, but Jake never got to because they weren't part of the team quite yet, or they weren't.
Get to go with you guys.
Yeah, but he did get to go on his own. And
briefly, very briefly.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get to his story tonight too. We can talk about this for days. This is gonna be a fun one, I'm telling you, because we got all kinds of stuff to play. We got some evidence to show you guys.
How's it going?
There's Jason.
Woo!
Winded. Mace Windu.
I'm getting old.
Okay.
Running up the stairs and outside. Okay.
So it's gonna be a fun evening of things happening. Let me get out on these guys real quick. I want to zoom in a little bit on these clowns since it's just two of them.
Whoa. I don't know if you want to do that.
It's just two of them. Not that zoomed. Just a little better. Give me a second here.
Concealer on or anything.
Oh, Lord.
Should we we need to hire some makeup people.
Yeah, you guys gonna put the makeup on? Go ahead. So anywho,
I'm gonna show up to the next show like Gene Simmons.
That's okay. More power
I put
to you.
makeup on that.
So we were just kind of getting the intro, Jason done. Jason, we talked about we're gonna do Tahlequah tonight. Some fun stuff.
Did you mention about Dan?
Oh no, yes, I was gonna do that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Dan was gonna be here with us tonight. Unfortunately, he was in an accident. Him and his wife, and the car looks bad. Hopefully worse than they are. I mean, they're fine. They walked away. They're getting things checked out, so we want to send out a shout out to them. Make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Jason and them guys, I can relate to that. I had an accident of my own a couple years ago, about a year ago or so, and I know what it feels like, and it sucks.
I've had many.
I luckily have not had hardly anything ever happen, and I don't want to.
No.
So.
Yeah, it's not a fun event, especially as long as you can walk away unscathed. That's the most important thing, and I think that's what happened. He's just going to be sore, and it'll be sore tomorrow probably, or the next day versus today maybe. So
yeah, just my heart goes out to them. So
yeah,
I hope they're both doing okay.
Yeah, so we're hoping he'll be back next week with us. He said he just wanted to take it, relax a little bit. Sorry, I was going to some couple comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our hearts out to them. Keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. But he's fine, I believe. So we'll find out more details. He just said he wasn't going to make it tonight. So yeah, definitely. So
So.
Yeah.
What did you have planned to talk about tonight?
I already told him. You're too late.
Yeah.
I was stalling while you were out running around. So yeah.
Very cool. It's a good story that you and I share very close to our hearts with all this. So
yeah.
I read the book.
Yeah, this book right here.
I heard some inside stories.
Yeah, this is the book right there. If I can get my hands out of the way. The Agony That Remains.
It's a good one.
By Brandon Callahan. We are in this book too, but this is how everything kind of started with everybody. like we told our history before. We were just at one point we were Legacy Paranormal. Jeremiah hooked up with the Kling brothers out of Dallas, Texas, or out of Texas for sure. I don't know if they're out of Dallas, but they used to be Everyday Paranormal. They were on Ghost Lab on Discovery Channel, and Jeremiah met up with them, and they asked if, hey, we want to work with you guys. This is before Jason and I ever joined the team, of course. Yeah. Anyways, so that's why we came Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Jeremiah met Brandon Callahan out of Missouri. His was Everyday Paranormal out of Missouri or something like that. Right. And they got to know each other over the years, and they were investigating on their own and whatnot. But the thing was, they decided to take a road trip down, hit some various haunted places, just kind of go wherever they decided to go. And they ended up as far as New Orleans, Nolens. And they also hit a couple places along the way, down in Arkansas, I believe was another one.
Yeah.
Well, they got a phone call at the same time, and they said, you got to come out and check this place out in Oklahoma, Tahlequah.
Right.
And they're like, okay, tell us a little bit about it, that whole kind of a song and dance. And they're like, well, this is where the Trail of Tears ends. And, we've had problems ever since we've been here, since the Indian Cherokee family moved to this location. Well, the family's been there for years. I don't know how long exactly, but I want to say the grandparents were there at one time, to the parents,
they had the old foundation where the cabin used to be.
Yeah.
Out there on the property.
There's been 2 houses at least.
Yeah.
One of them is still barely standing, and the other one is just actually a better house that stands now. But the foundation one Jason's talking about, it's just a piece of rubble, basically.
Right.
So,
now, the house that's barely standing, that was the house in question that was the whole book. I mean, that's the story of the book, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting distracted by something.
As always, we're used to it.
No, I was reading comments below.
That's okay. Comments are good.
So Jake's a little red, and let me adjust him real quick.
It's just my hair.
He's red.
Keep
talking.
For Jeremiah and Brandon Callahan, they formed Road Trip Paranormal together, and and then they started traveling, like Leo said, to New Orleans and Oklahoma and all over, and they're testing out the ley lines and just trying to find a connection why there's so much paranormal in so many different areas, and if there's a connection to anything.
Right.
The ley lines, man.
Right.
I've read so much into that since I've started hearing the stories and read the book, and
I know.
Found another spot, and
it's crazy.
Read about their connection, with the Bermuda Triangle and everything else.
It's crazy how the Earth itself, the land itself, has a huge effect with the paranormal.
Right.
And everything. And now some of the photographs that Brandon Callahan and Jeremiah had, if you go to Road Trip Paranormal Facebook page, you can see some of the earlier photos of the early stages of Road Trip back in the day, and some of the pictures out in New Orleans, and another haunted house that I
have some of them here too. They're just different. I don't know where it's at. I can't figure out where it is.
Yeah, it's been so long.
Yeah.
I can't remember
either. It looks fascinating. It's like a mansion, or not a mansion, but like a museum, a house that has all this antique stuff in there. I don't know where it is. I asked Jeremiah one time, and he told me, but I can't remember exactly where it is. And
there's some photographs of the 2 of them. They look really, really young.
Yeah, I have some here
newbies,
too. Or if it's the same ones I have.
I'm sure they are.
But yeah. Sorry.
But if
no more blood red for Jake. Sorry, I cleaned it up for him.
I'm alright with that.
Yeah.
But so Road Trip was kind of how it all started for them. That led down to Oklahoma.
Right. So they took a road trip down there. And the rest was history. But they went back to this place on the way back, I think, or maybe it was on the way down there. I can't remember that part of the story. It's irrelevant. But went down there, talked to this family, and like I said, I think it was within the grandparents had it first. Then the parents, and then the brothers that live there now have it.
Right.
And these brothers, they're in their 60s, I believe, late 50s possibly, as it is right now. I don't remember the exact ages right now. But everybody else has since passed, basically. It's just 2 brothers now that live there, or technically 1, really, because one of them's in the hospice course right now.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Honestly, I don't even know if anyone who actually owns the land right now.
Yeah, it's in discussion right now. So, but
that's the sad part.
Yeah. So this whole story, like I said, when it was told to me, I'll never forget the day I got the phone call from Claire, and I probably told it recently, even whatever. I was driving home from work one day, and she's like, "Are you ready for this next case we're going to do?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I'm going to tell you this. You're not going to believe it." I'm like, "Sure, whatever. Lay it on me." She said, "There's this place in Oklahoma," and I remember hearing bits and pieces of it prior to, and they said that we're going to go to this place that Brandon Callahan wants us to go to with him. I'm like, "Okay, cool. Tell me about it. You know, what's so special about it? What's unusual?" She was talking about, well, you know, these two brothers lived on the land, like I said, you know, Cherokee family. It's where the Trail of the Tears ended, you know, so I'm getting more intrigued by the minute when she's telling me the story. Well, then she's like, "There's paranormal stuff going on." Okay. She said, "But there's some other stuff going on." I'm like, "Well, what other kind of stuff could there possibly be, you know?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, I don't know whether you believe on this right here, but there's supposedly Bigfoot down there." And I'm like, "Bigfoot, really? Interesting. You know, that's something we've never really encountered at that point, you know, in our careers, because it was still early on. It was like 2012 when we went down there." I'm like, "Okay, go on. I'm listening, you know." She said, "Yeah, they see him supposedly all the time." I'm like, "Okay. All right." I'm still a little, you know. And this is before Bigfoot in Kansas was ever a thing, too.
Right.
So, yeah, we're all still green at this point on
I
it.
never expected to ever in my life run into it. I was a big fan of Bigfoot.
Oh, same here.
I love the stories.
Yeah, I did too.
The legend and everything from growing up and reading all that. It was just fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I never thought I'd run into anything that showed actual evidence of this.
Right. So there's that part of it, she said. And she goes, "There's more." I'm like, "Okay, keep talking." Excuse me. She said they see these things that are like lights in the sky and look like UFOs. I'm like, "Okay, we're getting a little weirder." But I mean, I still believe in all this stuff, you know, to this point. I just never experienced it to that level yet.
Right.
Not all at the same time. And she said, "Yeah, God, my chair's like, sounds like I'm farting." Sorry, my chair's moving.
He's trying to blame it on his chair.
Yeah, so, you know, wait till the smell kicks in.
Yeah.
They talked about, well, they see these things come up to the windows and scratch on the windows as kids that they said were like little witches or fairies or however describe her different.
Right.
I was always told little witches.
Right.
I've heard somebody else call them fairies or something like that. Flying little things that come up to the window, scratch the windows, fly off, and disappear up into the air. I'm like, what?
Right.
Okay.
I remember one story when we were
Go
going
ahead.
to walk through and everything to the house that
Leo break. Sorry, like Jake break.
Leo break.
Go ahead.
When we were getting a walkthrough and everything there, the younger brother, Marvin,
Yeah.
who was him and his wife, you know, and friends, they came and, you know, they could force that night
Right,
and everything.
always.
We had a big tailgate party basically on the property because we were tent camping it
Yeah.
out there in 21 degree weather.
Yeah.
It was colder than hell.
Right.
So they said that when they were children, like you said, they were hearing stuff. Marvin said that he remembers sitting there in his room doing homework.
Right.
When he just had this sensation of being watched.
Oh, that's right.
And turned and looked over at the window, and he said he saw a creature of some kind just staring back at him.
Right.
And he, you know, once the creature realized he was being looked right back at, it jumped down from wherever it was, or maybe it was like climbing up. It jumped, hit the ground, and took off running. He could hear it running across.
Right, the heavy footfalls.
Yeah, and everything, and running off into the woods.
Right.
But he said it was a creature. It wasn't, you know, anything he's ever seen or could recreate in his mind. He's just a creature looking at him. So, you know, and I'm hearing these stories thinking,
right, even more bullshit, right.
Yeah.
That's how I was being told.
And when we went there, you know, we walked in, you know, and when we took a look at the window, and we'll get to all this, but the window was boarded up because everything basically was boarded up.
Well, and part of it is because that's one of my biggest things too. I remember that kind of similar tale. I wanted to see this infamous window from the outside looking in.
Right.
So I walk around to the back side of it because you have to go through these high, tall weeds to get to there, which was never safe because there's snakes out there. We found out later on. There's copperhead snakes out there. There's all kinds. We know there's all kinds of ticks because almost everybody that goes out there comes back with the ticks
What are you
or
worried
tick or more.
about?
I'm not worried about ticks. The copperheads I'm a little worried about because You've never been in the house. Wait till you try to walk in
I've
there.
been in all kinds of places like it though.
Yeah, when you
He's told me stories of places he's been to.
Oh, okay, cool.
With work and stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, thank you. But so we go ahead.
So before you get to everything, let's paint the picture of when we first drive up.
Right.
And everything like that. So we drive up.
Yep.
Getting out and everything. We're kind of unloading, kind of greeting
Sure.
everybody. This is the first time that we've ever met the brothers.
Right.
And Callahan was there.
He wasn't there yet.
He wasn't there yet.
They
He
were
was on his
in
way.
town.
But we were.
They went to the cemetery.
Right, that's right. They went to the cemetery.
Because I expected them to be there, and because they said we're there already. I'm like, oh, cool.
And this is the first time you and I, we'd always heard about Brandon Callahan, and stuff. So we were like, I was excited.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, man, I hope he doesn't think I'm a douche or anything like that, But I just remember getting out and kind of taking in everything because you gotta because when we parked. A little further up to where we parked was the house that's livable.
Right.
And then off to the left, if I'm looking at the property, getting out of the car, was the house that was in question. And I kept looking at it going, so that's it. That's the haunted, demonic place, and everything like that. Yeah, well, I mean, just the stories that we heard.
I know. It's
very intelligent.
Right.
Not saying it was demonic or anything
like
that. It's just a very intelligent that kind of affected Jeremiah and Callahan.
Right.
In previous stories, so that,
Yeah.
But I'll never forget when you walked over to me to tell me what you had just seen.
Yeah.
Like the moment you had just got there.
Right. Let's not get into that quite yet, because
Okay.
I want to. The reason why I want to backtrack just a little bit to go back to Callahan and them.
Okay.
When they, the very first time Jeremiah went there, they went down to New Orleans, the same trip. Jeremiah went out there and stepped out, and this is in broad daylight, saw a full body colored apparition of an Indian woman walking from the side of the house to the edge of the property and just disappears.
The livable house.
You're right.
The one that they're actually living in at the time.
I don't know if I can get a picture of that up. Regardless, so that was always fresh in my mind. He's like, yeah, I can see it plain as day. Color blue. I think she had a blue shawl on or something, whatever, like a blanket or something.
And flowery dress. Yeah. I remember them saying it was a flowery dress, and she just walked from behind, and went behind a tree.
Yep, and disappeared.
So. In broad daylight.
Right. So I go in there. The first thing I do is which tree was it, Jeremiah? He asked me to point out right away. So he points it out. So I walk up and over there, go behind there, and then I proceed to go as far as I can where this person should have been, and it's about a 30-foot drop.
Yeah.
Because it's a bluff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's impossible. You can't have somebody just disappear, because the house sits perfect and there's nothing there, and then trees and lights and stuff like that, and then it's like a what do you call it, light? It's a telephone pole with a light on it, basically.
Right,
yeah,
right.
And there's trees right there too. So, but anyway, she disappears, whatever. I was like, okay. But one thing, we'll slow down because we go back to Jeremiah's story. They had all kinds of stuff happen from the first time they went down there ever, and I'll play a video here in just a second. This is something Callahan was working on at one point, and then he scrapped it, and he ended up writing the book instead. He had a Tahlequah documentary he was working on. It's pretty cool, because you'll see some stuff in there that they experienced. One of the ones that... Okay, let's just play it, because I want to discuss afterwards what went on and what everything meant. Give me a second. I wasn't expecting to play it. I got to find it real quick. So... it shouldn't take me that long, but...
I thought you had it.
No, I have everything but that right away. I wasn't expecting to play that, but I know where it's at.
No, it's a pretty important piece.
Yeah, because it gives a
I don't
true...
think I've ever seen it.
It's what would have been his documentary at the time.
Right.
That he was working on. So it's kind of like a trailer that he had for it. So you'll see a little bit of... inside the house, you'll see a little bit of the cemetery and all that. It was pretty damn good. I loved it.
Hang on a second.
But so I remember the first time, and this is before Leo ever came, before I even knew who he ever was even a part of the team. This is 2009, and I had just started doing the Wichita Ghost Tour with Kathy.
Okay.
And we were getting ready to embark on that journey of creating the tour for Wichita. And that's when she set me up to go meet a team called Everyday Legacy Paranormal. And they were going to the Old Forum Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to investigate. She said, hey, I know them. I'll call them and tell them that you're going to show up and everything like that. So I did. I went and showed up. I got to meet him, and I was impressed with him just from the get-go because it was, they had all the equipment. They were running it just like, superstars. They were throwing cables and reels over the railing and doing everything. I mean, they had the place set up. It was 3 stories. They had it set up with cameras everywhere. They had it was everything you saw on TV.
Yeah,
Which is the same stuff we still do.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
We did well. We learned. We learned, and we caught on, and we continue to try to do that.
Right.
But that was what I saw, and I'm standing there going, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" I love it. I was taken back by it, and that's the first night I met Jeremiah, and all that, and it was great. So after they met me that night and everything, they invited me onto the podcast that they used to have for the team. So I was really excited. I was really nervous, and I went and I sat down and did a podcast talking about the Wichita Ghost Tour, who I am, and my connection to the paranormal and anything that's ever happened to me.
Right.
So afterwards, I got a chance to talk to them, to Ben and Claire and Jeremiah, and that's when Jeremiah sat me down and was like, "Hey, you want to hear some stuff?" And I'm like,
"Yeah."
I was like, "Always." So he breaks out the computer and he starts playing me all this footage and stuff. And that's the night I saw the video, the real video of the thing in the rafters.
Oh yeah.
They put it on Ben and Claire's TV, so I saw that for the first time.
That's mind blowing on its own.
Yes, it is.
I've never even seen the real video.
I stood in front of that TV. I think I was almost face planted myself to the TV because I'm watching this creature up in the rafters. But they ended up playing me all this different stuff from, well, Jeremiah did, because I don't think Ben and Claire had even been out there yet to it, but
to Tahlequah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Jeremiah starts playing me all these things that from their trip along the way to get there, the screams of Sasquatch reported, supposed to be Sasquatch screams, different audible stuff that I was just blown away about. I couldn't believe it. So, they're telling me all these stories, just like what Leo was saying. You're going to see, there's, Sasquatch, there's UFOs, there's lights in the sky out there, there's voices in the woods, there's little people and everything. I'm like, how little? Because are they my size, or are they are they little people,
Yeah.
But
I understand that, because everybody's little to me, so
Right.
it's like, what?
Right.
How are you talking exactly?
I know. So what they were talking about was the fact that there was a chance that there are not leprechaun type people, but that kind of size.
Right.
Small little creatures out there that, and they were telling me all these different things about, and and Leo, you can stop me if I'm jumping.
No, you're fine.
But some of
it got hung up.
Some of the legends that they were telling me, there's a field where there's a witch riding a horse out in the field. Yeah. There are creatures that are staring into the windows. The brothers.
Fuck.
Oh, lost our feed?
Yeah, it crashed on me. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, okay. Are we?
we're still playing on there, but I think it's behind a little bit.
Okay. It shows that we're still on.
You guys still hear us at home?
Yeah, brothers.
Oh, I got that part.
Okay, we're still live.
Okay, so we're still live.
Hang on, guys. I apologize for my F-bomb. I can't get this screen to disappear.
It's not a night without that, you know?
I like the F-bomb. That was perfect.
I was probably too much at the time anyway.
No, you're not. Sorry. That's
We're
funny.
good. We're still live. We're still live.
Thanks, Carl. He said you are live. Because when we tried doing this with Callahan on the podcast before through Skype, we had him there, and then everything froze and locked up, and we had to restart everything all over again.
Yeah, for viewers who may not have seen that podcast, because that was about a year and a half ago that we actually did that. I think maybe almost two years ago. This was about a year and a half ago, but we had Callahan on the podcast, and we had him calling in, and as soon as he started talking about some real detailed information about his case and everything out there, we lost everything. We lost the entire feed.
It was the craziest thing ever, yeah.
I mean, and that kind of dropout has never happened before. Or since.
Right.
You know? It just seems like every time we talk about something more, I wouldn't say demonic or anything like that. I hate even using that word.
No, it's true.
But we
talked about
do
Robert the
mention
Doll
that
that one day.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. What's his name?
Robert the Doll.
Robert the
that
Doll.
happened with us.
Robert the Doll. Yeah.
And same thing happened. We lost feed. Give me a second here, guys. I'm trying to readjust things here real quick.
You're good. So back to what I was saying though. I was just amazed by some of the stories that they were telling me, but I couldn't believe 100% what Jeremiah, Ben, and Claire were telling me about everything that Jeremiah and...
Well, it was just too far out there.
It was.
I
I was like, so there's a place that has every paranormal thing, everything except for the Loch Ness is out there. You're telling me that's what I'm... So my first thought was, well, when are we going?
Right.
You know?
Same here.
And, you know, it was kind of one of those things, it's like, well, you know, it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to really set up and really, because it's kind of a touchy subject, because at the time, Callahan was still doing a lot of research and going back and forth from where he lives in Kansas City down to Oklahoma. So, you know, it just kind of sit and wait, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, I really wish I could be a part of this and everything like that. And sure enough, they invited me to join the team not that long after. So I was excited to be a part of it, but I'm like, man, am I really going to see this kind of stuff? You know, am I really going to be a part of this? And I couldn't wait. And then on some case we were on, they invited some brother and sister, you know, to the team, you know, some one night. You know, and then we're stuck with him forever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that, you know.
Who else gonna say fuck on the air? Not you guys.
Oh, I'll fucking say fuck.
I'll fucking say it too.
Sorry, people at home watching. My mom watches most of the time. She's like, I heard you say that on the
I'm very sorry.
I'm like, Mom, if you didn't know that about me right now, I'm sorry, because this is.
No, but
I play it off though. I'm like, don't do that.
Well, you know, sometimes in this field, when stuff really does happen and it scares the crap out of you, you don't know what comes out of your mouth. It's just going to happen. I mean, what was that? What came out of your mouth last night when you had a hat thrown at you?
I believe it was, what the fuck was that, Roth?
That's funny.
Turn on your light, Roth.
Yeah, because Jake and I were on an investigation with Andy and Roth last night, and some weird things were happening that night, last night. So we're coming off of that and everything, and from a pretty decent investigation. I feel.
I full on had a cowboy hat thrown at me in the dark, so that was pretty fun.
And it wasn't Rove, that's for sure.
No, wasn't anybody.
Nope.
Well, it
But
was somebody, but I don't know who it was.
but you know, so I started the team, and then Leo started the team not that long after. It was a few months to maybe a year later.
Something like that, yeah. I would say.
And it wasn't that long after we did a few cases that we actually got the call to go down to Oklahoma. And I remember going on, packing for that trip. I didn't know what the hell to do or what to expect or anything like that. They're talking about Bigfoot and bears and monsters and little creatures and little people and witches on horses and UFOs and
Take extra socks.
and and underwear.
At very least
gosh.
socks.
And then, and not to mention that house itself where there's paranormal activity happening and that actually is intelligent and all that. So, I packed everything. I had my vest on I had mace, I had knives, I had a machete.
That's right.
I had
forgot.
everything.
Man.
I went prepared. I had everything, and then I think I even brought my shotgun and shells too. So I came prepared. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
And I feel like I want to always protect everybody that I'm around. So I don't know. Yeah, I just remember, the first, here I am wearing all this stuff with my backpack
I have a
on.
whole bunch of the littlest Rambo jokes that I'm just going to keep to myself.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so here I am with my backpack on. I got my ball cap on. I've got my machete in my backpack. I'm fully loaded. You haven't seen my vest yet. It's not that one. It's my vest that I.
Is it like a tactical vest?
It almost looks like one. Okay, so I had it loaded down with everything, and
I've been saying I need to get one of those because I never have enough pockets.
I know,
That's for
and this
sure,
one
yeah.
works really great. So I have it on. I have my ball cap on with a spotlight on top of that, and I walk out, and here I am about to meet Brandon Callahan for the very first time, and I walk up and everything, and he's like, "How you doing, SWAT?"
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, "Fuck." I was like,
I'll just go home now.
yeah, I was kind of embarrassed.
Dejected.
I was like, I'm just gonna go back over here, and go away from you. So that's what he just called me for the rest of the time that night, and I'm like, damn it.
You got a nickname right away, man.
Yeah,
Some
I
people have to
did.
work for them.
There you
I'm
go,
like,
exactly.
That's
so-
not such a bad thing.
No, but I kept it that way because I just didn't know what to expect. I mean, I had heard so many stories about this place. And you know what? I'll just be honest, I was not disappointed. So,
Well, I'm
It was-
disappointed.
it was pretty good. Some of the craziest things I've ever seen or heard happen while out there in this area. Can you find it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to play here. It's
Gotcha.
some
Still
things
trying
going
to play
on.
the same video?
Yeah, I apologize, people at home. It's the document. I don't know
You got
why.
everybody excited though.
Well, I was deciding now I'm losing. I'm getting dejected pretty quick here. It's starting to irritate me.
Everybody's on the edge of their seats. Come on, Leo. Let's just keep talking.
I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't
So-
there.
So we're gonna take a break.
What?
Okay.
Well, not a break, but we're gonna take a break from Tahlequah while Leo works on that.
Okay.
And so you've done several home investigations with us now. Right?
Yep. Couple.
So
Couple.
the main thing that I'm always hearing about everybody's home or their business or anything like that, it's always their fear that it's demonic.
Always.
Always demonic.
Always.
So what is your response to people when they're like, "Oh, it's demonic"? I've even shown the picture from Dodge City,
Which one?
the boy sitting on the
Oh, okay.
at the top of the stairs.
Okay.
I've had people. I even gone to my work and shown that photograph. I have an 8x10 photo, and I hold it up, and they're like, they flip out. They immediately think, demon.
Well, we have shows like Ghost Adventures and others to thank for that. I mean, have you seen the new episode? I watched it today. It was straight to the demons.
Well, see, here's the thing. I just can't wrap my mind, now that I've done this enough and everything, and not everybody does it, and not everybody is into it, but when they have a problem, they want to call somebody, come out, but they immediately think it's horrible, it's evil.
Right. It's always evil. Always evil.
So, what would be your response to somebody?
I always tell them that first off, I want to see for myself.
Right.
Then I'd never disbelieve people, but I want to see for myself. And second off, I always tell them that 99% of the time, it's just an asshole. That's what I tell them. I mean, because we've met a lot of asshole spirits out there, you know, trying to knock people down for whatever reason, and
So, do you think everything you've dealt with us has been human?
So far, myself.
Yeah.
You know, because I've only been around for about 3 years now. I don't think we've had any super dark stuff. Maybe Olathe, but I wasn't on that one.
Right, I wasn't either. So.
But no, I think most of the stuff that I've dealt with, you know, there was the one instance at the depot with the Steven spirit that came through with me and Leo Super Renee, but that guy wasn't.
But do you feel that is more of an asshole?
Yes.
And we say that because human spirits, you know, if they're intelligent and they're cursing at us, telling us to leave, or just being flat out nasty to us, there's no other way to explain it but an asshole.
Right.
And, you know, we deal with that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of those out there.
Like last weekend, we dealt with that a little bit. You know? We had to kind of tell him off a little bit.
Right.
Jake and I did an investigation last weekend where we helped out a couple living in their home, and they've been having bad dreams. They've been having visions, seeing a woman and stuff like that. And I feel that it turned out that it was actually a male who was just presenting itself as a female in order to get to the female in the house and being a dick to them. And we basically had to put him in his place, and I feel like we did it.
Yeah. They got a hold of us and said that everything had been really quiet. There had been no more dreams. There had been no shadow man in the basement. There had been no noises.
Because he was a jerk. He was. That's awesome. And you know what?
At the end of the day, we had to just tell him that he's a jerk and that we're not going to take it anymore and that he's going to go away. And
yeah. I wasn't afraid of him, and I was sick and tired of what he was doing to them.
Right. And then he tried to screw with us the whole time we were there.
Yeah.
Making noises in one room, running to another room.
We were doing an experiment. Jake and I were in a room. We were doing the French box experiment. I love having him do the speaker or the headphones and doing that while I try to interact and everything. He has no idea what I'm asking or talking about, but he's spurting out whatever he's hearing on the spirit box.
Yeah.
And
it's odd for me. I don't know what's. I mean, you can almost pick out. You know, you can almost pick out little things like, okay.
Yeah. Where I'm going or what we're talking about.
Yeah, maybe we're talking about this, but you don't know.
Right.
So it's interesting.
And it is interesting, but you know, I'm always watching you because I don't want you to have anything happen to you. Now, last weekend I got touched. There, he kept having somebody poking him in the back, and it was enough to aggravate him. You know.
Yeah, it was odd. You could feel I was sitting on the end of a bed, and you could feel the bed pushed down. You know, like when somebody else gets on there.
Right.
I could feel something like it touched me on the back. And it was like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, so that's when I stepped forward. I went past you a little bit and started staring forward into the closet that, was the barrier between the next room where they were seeing the guy or the shadow figure.
Right.
So, it's a matter of standing up to it.
Right.
But asking certain questions. You have to ask certain questions. You can't continue to ask the same
Right.
questions over and over and over again. I love it when you and I do this, because the fact that,
I guess it worked out pretty swell last night too.
oh my God, because the storyline we start having with whoever is in the room, last night we had two.
Yeah.
We had two spirits that were actually interacting with us last night. And you even said that you could tell the difference in the voices.
Yeah, you could hear them.
And everything. And it was like not simple yes or no answers. You were
Well, the one was telling you where to look, right?
telling me to look, told me to turn around and look because I'm right behind you and you're staring right at me. So I'm like, do I really want to look? And I even said that out loud. I'm like, do I want to look? So I did. I had goosebumps all over me. I was like, okay, I'll turn around. I'll look.
Yeah.
And then, I said, are you talking to me? Are you right here? And you're like, yeah, I'm talking to you through the radio. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then you came out and said, I didn't know I could do that. And I'm like, but you're doing it, dude. You're doing it, But, and Jake, I'm not talking to Jake. I'm talking. He's speaking for the spirit itself.
It's odd, and Leo can probably attest. You've done it once too.
Yeah.
After I close my eyes,
Yeah.
and after a few minutes of doing it, you almost slip away. You're not
Right.
really asleep,
Right.
but you almost slip away. It almost feels like you're not there.
Right.
All there is the noise and the words. It's
can-
strange. It's hard to explain.
I can agree to that. I can agree to the fact of when we did it in Dodge, the time that I did it, and everybody seemed to be in tune to what I was talking about. I mean, they stopped talking and asking questions because everything that I kept talking about.
I walked up at the end and nobody was saying anything anymore, but you just, oh no, that was the one before.
It was
That
just
the one
like
before.
two people having a conversation. I kept hearing a male and a female,
Right.
and they were arguing, and I just kept saying out loud what they were saying. So it was weird, but
Yeah.
it was and Chris was there.
It's a
and
neat
Renee-
experiment.
Yeah, I mean it was fun,
Yeah,
but
you
it does
almost-
drain you, and you do just
Yeah.
disappear into it.
Yeah. Every time when we're done, I'm wiped out. Like, we gotta save that for the end, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty much done after that.
I didn't even have to stop you last night. Normally I have to, I feel bad, going over and grabbing people because,
I know I keep it in my mind that it's gonna happen at some point.
but last night you were just done because they left.
They left, it just stopped, and it was like total silence,
Right.
just in my ears, and with nothing.
Right.
And I sat there and started to, no, I'm like,
It's-
oh man, I'm wiped, we gotta stop, I'm wiped out.
Right.
I
Isn't
think
it?
at one point they said goodbye.
One did. The older one, older male, did
So I
say
remember
goodbye.
saying goodbye.
And then we heard noises up above it.
Yeah, what was that? Because I didn't hear that at all.
So as the older male, because there's two. There was one
8
that
and
was younger.
42.
There was an 8-year-old and a
I
42-year-old.
remember saying those
They
two.
actually gave us their age. And as we're talking, and I'm trying to get like who the 42-year-old was, and I really do feel like it was somebody who had died during war. There's a possibility World War II, had fallen into the water and was drowning, basically. Or at least died out there after his injuries and all that. But he did pass away. Because he kept talking about, it's dark, I'm frightened, I'm cold, I'm wet, and all that. And the thing is, the 8-year-old kind of did the same conversation. I'm wet, I'm frightened. So I was thinking that possibility they were the one and the same.
Oh, okay.
The older male was converting back to his childhood
Yeah.
because of the fact
There's the
of
theory that
all of the people that live there, there's a lot of grandkids and a lot
Yeah.
of children in the house.
Yep, and then there's the theory that you can revert to whatever form you want in
Right.
the afterlife.
Right.
Whatever
And
form of you
Right.
like best.
I know that's kind of a weird way to
That's a whole
look
other
at.
show, but
I know. And for viewers, I mean, it's crazy to think about it. What
Right,
if
right.
what if this person died out there in the field, in the field of duty, and drowned, left behind, and I'm pretty sure he was never found. His body was never found, never recovered. So therefore, the person that lives in the house now is in the military and travels all over the world.
yeah. Likes to collect a lot of
Collects.
military artifacts. Really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Really
collects
cool to see.
artifacts, brings them home, brings
Yeah.
them home from all over the world. There's a possibility he may have ran across that spirit
Right.
and found that connection.
Or had something
And
from
that spirit, yeah,
something.
or maybe an artifact came from that person.
Right.
Who knows? But
Came from a ship they were on, or so, anything.
right. But that spirit did say that it had a connection to the traveler.
Right.
So therefore, it was kind of like, okay, who's the traveler? And then it dawned on us, like, really quickly, like, before after I'd even asked that, well, who's the traveler? It was like, oh crap, that's the owner of the house, because
Yeah.
he's currently in Germany right now.
Right.
So it was, I don't know. So if he converted back and he's lonely, he wants a family, he wants a life.
Being a child would be the easiest way to get it.
I think so, because he went back to that age, because there's so many kids there, they say. All the grandkids and the cousins and all that come, there's that possibility of him actually being connected to them.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
So what happened with the bang?
okay, so after the 42-year-old, the older male,
Right.
said, hold on, goodbye. Because you said
I
that.
remember saying those words.
Yes. Soon as that happened, there's all this banging upstairs above us, which was
there anybody up? There was nobody upstairs, was there? Everybody came
nobody
downstairs
up
for
there.
that.
There's nobody up there in that bedroom above us, according to the owner who was right there. The wife, not the
Right.
husband is actually in Germany. The wife is like, no, that's my bedroom, and there's nobody up there. She goes, and there better not be anybody, anybody
It was
up
right
there.
after you said goodbye, huh?
Yeah, said goodbye. But then there's all this like commotion up there. And then you said, and I was like, well, what was that? And you said, it's me, I'm upstairs.
Huh.
And I was like, well, who's me? And you started saying, I'm frightened and I'm wet. And you immediately said, that was and you said, after you said those words, you said, that was a child speaking. This is a different voice. And I'm like, I was like, holy crap, it's the 8-year-old now. And then that's when the 8-year-old's standing next to me and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, here we are.
How did the energy feel around you when he said he would? Did you feel, was it cold, staticky, anything?
The crazy thing about it is that while I'm kind of facing you, it was completely dark. I couldn't see you at all.
Right. It was pitch black in the room.
But down on the floor and around me, I was seeing the red pin dot lights
Really?
all around me. Yes, I was.
Uh-huh.
I kept calling it out. I kept saying that there's another light down here.
Okay.
There's all this like red flashes of light around me. So to me, I felt like it's been my personal belief that when I see like a red dot in the room, it's just the energy trying to manifest itself.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's one thing I've yet to experience.
Really?
Like the pin dots.
See, I'm always staring off
I've not
into
seen
nowhere, and I probably look like I'm spacing out if you ever look at me, but
No.
I'm always like looking because I see that, because every time I start seeing those dots, I start having activity around me.
Yeah. No,
Or
see, it's
around
cool.
us.
That's what I say is we all bring something to the table in this group. You
Right.
know, everybody can do stuff a little differently than everyone else, but it comes together well.
I just my ability is very
Leo, you
quiet.
can always hear shit that I can never hear.
That I mean,
But
we
we've got
talked
so
about
many
your
recordings of stuff that back it up that it's undeniable. So
well, and I everywhere we go, I always talk about Leo. I'm
yeah,
always
for sure.
telling them, I'm
Yeah.
like, we're doing what we're doing here, but if we can get our buddy in here, he might be able to help a little bit more on clarifying what is being said or heard in here. So, I'm putting you out there.
Okay.
Okay. But no, it's true, because there's a case back up to like 2014. Roe took us to a friend of his house, a friend's house that he had. It was a duplex.
Oh.
We had Paul and Michelle, me, Roth, and Cody,
Right.
and you. And you were downstairs, and you're hearing all this stuff, and everyone's like, "What the hell are you hearing?" Because you were asking questions,
Right.
and everything, and then you were like, "There's a male's voice right there. Did you hear it?" And you even hear Paul and Michelle go, "I didn't hear anything," But sure enough,
Play the EVP.
you go back. You go back and you hear, and so downstairs in the basement, it is only Leo and two women.
Right.
And Leo's, he's asking questions, oh, there's a noise over there. I heard that and everything. And then you hear this male voice, and he's like, oh, I heard a male voice. And they're like, I didn't hear it, but you play it back. So right when you said, oh, I heard that over there, there's a male voice that goes, that wasn't me. And I'm like, oh my God, there's nobody down there but you unless you threw your voice off somewhere else.
Well, I do have that capability.
Do
so.
you?
Sure.
That's
Why not?
amazing. But no, it was just fascinating that he's hearing all that is only being picked up by the audio recorder.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, Leo,
No, there's
is
even
there
a couple
stuff you need to
instances
tell us?
on the recorder over there that I brought tonight that I've got timestamped on there.
Oh, right.
So,
right.
There's
a really neat one from the one that we did a couple weeks ago in Augusta.
Really?
From the first time we were there when he was there with us. There's a very, at first we're pretty sure we figured out that the male and female spirit were the same person there. But we were looking for a female initially because that was the story. That was what got us in there. It was a female that was there. So we just start. I have the Ovilus out.
Right.
Leo starts it off like we normally do with introducing us, saying who we are, why we're there, what we're gonna do, and you can hear on the recorder the Ovilus says, "Arrived," and you say, "Oh, you arrived? Are you here with us?" And there's a Class A female that says, "Yeah," and you say, "Oh, did you hear that?" She said, "Yeah."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's on there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that one's neat because the Ovilus says arrived,
Right.
and then you ask if she's there, and then you get when you listen to it, it was the one I texted you guys about at work.
Yeah,
I was like,
know you
holy
were
crap.
excited.
I finally heard one. Oh my God. It's really cool. You guys are right because you say, are you here with us? And plain as day in a female's voice, yeah.
Huh.
And then you call it. You're like, oh, did you hear that? There's a female that answered
I
us.
love it.
Everybody else is kind of like, no, I didn't hear it. But yeah, sure, plain as day on there, man.
Apparently, I can throw my voice like a woman too.
Oh no, and it doesn't. And there was one woman in the house at that time, but it was not her voice. Her voice is also on the recorder, and it's not her.
And we're good about tagging that. Oh, that was so and so, versus just assuming.
Like last night, I was tagging myself really hard because my stomach was growling because Roth kept talking about McDonald's.
We were all so hungry by the time we left.
Oh my God.
So as I'm talking with Jake last night, as he's doing the Frank's box, and he can't hear what I'm saying. I'm talking and asking questions. All of a sudden, you hear this demon growl from my stomach.
Now those might be the real demons that we're dealing with.
I had your recorder right behind me, so it's gonna pick all that
I'll
up.
have to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet.
But I I don't know. It's crazy. From the very beginning when I started doing this, seeing those red dots pop up in the
Right.
room, I used to think that it was just my eyes. You know, it was just
Yeah,
my eyes.
eye fatigue or whatever.
Yeah, but honestly, I really do feel
There's
like,
usually an occurrence when you start
Yeah.
seeing this. Something
and
happens.
it all started at the Forum Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is so full of activity that Leo knows very well.
Oh yeah.
We every time we were in there, it was like some crazy shit happening in there, and I just remember sitting in the auditorium or the sanctuary,
Right. Right.
sanctuary, staring forward toward the stage and stuff, and just seeing it pop, 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 just all these red dots, and I'm like, what is going on? Next thing you're hearing all these noises, and you're hearing doors closing and stuff like that. So is there a connection? I don't know, but so far it hasn't let me down.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. Tahlequah was the same thing. I was seeing those dots out there in the woods and
Right.
around the house and stuff like that. It blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. And the cemetery, which Leo will get to that here after a while, but the cemetery itself, and you've been there.
I have been to the cemetery.
So
Yeah,
you know how crazy and weird it is.
it is. Yeah.
And we were there we were there in the daytime and at night, but in our former intro to the show, he said shows Leo walking into the cemetery, and you see all these weird orbs and lights flying around.
Which one was it?
The cemetery.
At where?
Tahlequah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to find next. I can't find the one I'm looking for.
That's okay. We can move on.
I
You
don't
don't
know.
have to show that.
I'm
man.
frustrated because I have no idea where the hell it could be. I know I have it.
That's okay. We can get with whatever you had already scheduled.
I have nothing really.
Let's go with our regularly scheduled programming.
Right. Let me see if this is
I'm
the
sure
one.
everyone's getting tired of hearing me talk.
Yeah, we're sitting over here.
You guys
Pouring
did
the
good.
crowd.
So, I apologize, people at home. We had all kinds of stuff, and I don't. Once again, it's so weird, and I don't know if you guys believe in this stuff at home, but it's like when it comes to certain, like we talked about earlier, certain subjects, weird things happen. Just
Well,
Tahlequah being the one that's always the weirdest one. When we wrote my part for the book for Callahan, this book right here, I was getting weird things happening in my house. Things were knocking on the walls, banging outside on the walls, enough to where I went around the whole property to look to see if anybody was out there messing with me, and there's nobody there. And this
you
is
were by yourself in the house.
well, no, everybody was asleep.
Oh,
My
everybody
family was
was
asleep.
asleep.
I got up and I was like, "Who's up?" Because I knew it was late Sunday night. Like we're talking like 12 o'clock at night probably. When I'm writing this, 'cause I had a deadline to meet for Callahan,
Right.
and so I was going to town in the story, dedicated and focused, and just shit banging everywhere, and it's just bizarre how it happens. So I went outside, like I said. I went down the hallways, looked to, see if anybody was up, got up, whatever. I'm like, well, it must be just whatever. Went back, sat, and started doing it again, typing away on my computer. Started happening again, over and over, repeatedly. Enough to where when I sent it to Callahan, I was like, man, you're never going to believe this, dude. Hey, I sent this to you. Here you go. Sorry, it's last minute, but B, when I was typing the story, man, it's like the story knew itself, because all of a sudden, as soon as I start working on this, things started banging around, whatever, and I kept telling him how it kept happening. He's like, oh, I believe you. He goes, it's happening to me, too.
I believe it.
Same thing. It's like this story knows, and it's just like it knows that if we tell it, it's going to whatever, and it's just like, holy crap. So some of the stuff that we experienced, and I know Jake can attest to it also, too. I told him some stuff, and he's like, well, he was telling us some stories that one day when he
Yeah,
first
I was
came
telling
back.
you my stories, and the look on your face was just like,
I laugh, and Jason, I look at Jason, he smirks, I smirk, because it's like we did the same thing. Same stuff. 2 different times, 2 different years. I mean,
Yeah.
ways, years apart, and this is happening over again, and just bizarre. The story is incredible.
hey, Leo's watching. Dang, I'm glad.
So do you have video and stuff of some things? If you want to, we
I
don't, we don't
do,
have to.
but
We
I
can just
mean,
talk.
I wanted to go in order, like I said, if I could, but
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. So,
Okay.
what we're going to
Still
do
willy
now,
nilly, that's more our style anyway.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to play we're going to play some audio first.
Okay.
So, I cannot find that. It just irritates me because it needs to be played. And I'll look for it maybe for next week again, but whatever. It's not going to go any kind of timeline. This is one of the last times we went down there. We were trying to film for a documentary of our own or a TV show possibly, excuse me. So we're out there, and I didn't hear this. Is my once, and like Jason will attest here, we can attest to. Once I go to a place, I turn my recorder on first thing.
Yep.
We were there we went on a Thursday, left Sunday, so my recorder was running nonstop for that many days. If it got full, I have backup on there, I can flip it. So I was able to do that, and I have days upon days of stuff. Well, this was the last time we were there back in 2016. This was would have been the first day we were there. Matter of fact, we went on April 7th, 2016, and you hear us getting out of the car, and now my recorder going. Well, this is what was captured, and I don't know who the hell it is. So, just playing. Hold on. Oh.
So, I don't even know what it is.
Hang on. It's really not playing. I can see. If you got full, I have backup on there, I flip it. So I was able to do that. Is it playing? Hold on.
It's behind on here. I have to wait for it to catch up still. Yeah, it was playing. Sounds like it was playing.
Yeah, he doesn't have that phone, do you?
I forgot everything. I bushly did.
That was dumb. Oh, shit, it was working in the studio earlier. I don't know why, no it's not. It's only fitting. Well, we're back live.
You know.
So I know the viewers at home.
It played. They heard it.
Yeah, and we could hear it.
So we're talking the female voice?
Yeah. It's just some, what to say, yeah, you know it, yeah, or something like that. And it's
Well,
like,
it sounds mocking.
well, it was like singing too. And that's what was bizarre. It's like, why
Yeah.
would there be singing going on? There shouldn't have been. I mean, we were just getting there, like I said, opening the door, and there was
Right.
nobody there.
Nobody else was there, just you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doors you hear is that time we took the trailer, whatever, the camper,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
and we were getting out of it. It was Roth and I and Renee
Right.
wasn't singing, because I know Renee's voice.
Right.
And at the time, Paula and Michelle hadn't even shown up yet. They came a day later.
I got
So
you.
there was no other girls there, other than just us. Yeah, Chris is right. Yeah, you know it. Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, I don't know why there would be anything like. Oops, I haven't turned that on yet. I don't know why that happened, but
And that was as soon as you stepped out, you cut that
the
up.
very first day we were there, like I said, the 7th, and it
Nice.
just started playing right away, and it's just like, wow, how's that possible? Oh, I know why I didn't play in studio. Heh. I'm gonna wait till Jason gets back. I'll play it again because we missed it in studio, and there's a reason why. And I apologize. I want to hear Jason's take on it too. He's never heard some of this stuff before, so bear with us. But yeah, like I said, this is the first day we were there. On the very last trip we were there, and things just keep getting crazier. Every time we went back, things would be crazier by the minute. I mean, just random stuff happening. What I was going to talk about, the video I was going to play with Jeremiah and Callahan was when they went there the first time, they recorded, video. They have video, all this stuff too. And I was trying to find that video, and I don't know why it's disappeared all of a sudden. Go figure.
Yeah,
But they, I know, right? They were out, and they were carrying walkie-talkies because they separate every now and then. It was just them two.
Okay.
Nobody else was with them other than, one of the brothers or
I
so.
know where this is probably going.
Yeah. So what happened was they had walkies, and I think they were just getting ready to separate, or whatever. They were together at the time, because you hear them on the video.
Okay.
All of a sudden, you hear something come through, and it goes, "Help me!" And it was creepy. It was like a kid's voice.
It comes out of the walkie?
Yeah, out of the walkie-talkies. They're not even touching the walkies, and it's something like you can hear it click on and click off, and it's like.
Yeah.
You can hear them. You can hear their expression through the audio itself. They're like, "Whoa! Did you just hear that?"
Right.
And they're like freaking out, and it's just like, and it was creepy. And we ended up getting involved where we were of the same trip as last time, a little girl came across to us too and was talking to us too. I was talking about what was in the video with Callahan and them with the walkie-talkies incident with the Help Me.
Right.
That's why I was trying to hopefully find that, because that whole video was amazing.
Which we were telling some people the other night is the reason we always carry the walkies around is because, as much as they are for communicating amongst each other,
Right.
a lot of times you get stuff that screws with them. There was that instance for you guys. There was our 50th episode at the shop.
Right.
Where we had our own walkie-talkie instances on both ends.
Okay, so what do you think that phenomenon is?
Well, I mean, it's not... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's not any different from things get manipulated.
So I was going to say,
because
like SB7 or anything.
That and just, physically, like you had an incident last night that's physically that took place. And, I mean, some of these things can, interact that way and get, can manipulate things. But
right.
a walkie-talkie from who knows where, though, that's what's bizarre.
Right, and, when they're short, I'm not saying super short, but they're short range as far as the radio goes.
Right.
And if they're channeled together, there shouldn't be other things getting interference on that,
Now,
Right.
Especially the places that we're in.
Right. The walkies we had previous didn't have like a huge range.
You're right.
Now the ones that I've recently bought, I think they have like a mile or two
Sure.
range to it.
But
But
that's always excluding obstructions too.
right.
I mean, you go to a place like the Depot where it's all bricks and multiple layers and thick and
Right.
So you never know.
So when we had so were you talking about Callahan and the walkie-talkie issue?
Right.
Because he even had that issue when he filmed the episode for that one TV show that he did.
Right.
That happened, like a year and a half ago?
Right.
When they went out and he had, I forgot her name. She used to be on Fact and Faked.
Jael DePardo.
Yeah, Jael.
She was also on one of the Josh Gates shows, right?
Yeah, she's been on...
Expedition Unknown, I believe.
She's been on Destination Truth.
Destination Truth.
Yeah,
she's been on quite a few things, yeah.
So she went out there to interview Callahan on location in Tahlequah. So this is like actually seeing it, on TV. And here I am, I'm geeking out
Right.
on about this because here I am watching the show.
We're going to act all through the Paracon this year?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I geeked out last year at the Paracon. I even went and bought Callahan's book again from him.
Yeah.
I did too.
And got it autographed, I made sure.
I did
I
too.
made sure. I think I always make him autograph it no matter what.
Right.
But Callahan came to our festival, and I pulled out my book, my original book, and I made him autograph it. I was like, "Do it, come on, please." But I should have had Jason autograph it. He wasn't part of it, but I should have had him do it anyway. So in that episode that he did just like a year and a half ago. Was it a year and a half ago? Or no, it was just last year. It was 2019.
Right.
Early in the year. Because I remember, that was me.
Oh, that thing was over here.
No, that's me.
What the?
I'm getting all excited because I love telling all these stories.
Right.
But on the episode,
yeah.
when they're inside the house that is decaying and falling apart, and you could tell Jael was not really wanting to go inside.
No, she told him. She's freaking out. So.
Yeah, so they went inside. Now, Marvin, the brother, and Callahan, they all had walkies.
Right.
And the walkie started freaking out, and a voice started coming through it. Now, everybody can say, okay, well, that could be anything.
You're right.
But,
you're not wrong.
But, only one walkie was having that issue while the rest of them were not. They're all supposed to be on the same frequency, and you could say, well, it's TV, they could just turn it off, or...
Sure, you can manipulate anything.
Sure, sure. But, on our 50th episode of the Cryptic Heartland podcast,
right.
when we were at the shop, anybody who goes back to watch our 50th episode...
Which you should if you haven't.
Yes. Because we had Dan, and we had Jake, We had Roth,
We had
myself,
SLS
Jeremiah,
for the first time.
the SLS for the first time, and we had Dave Green, and
Mhm.
you were all.
Absolutely. And we
And
had little buckets of sweat.
yeah, it was a little
It
hot.
was
in
so
there. It was a little
hot.
burning hot. So, myself and Leo and Michelle and Jeremiah all stayed back and did the podcast. We were watching live. All you guys.
Right, because we had the
Yeah,
the
the four of
PDA
you.
or something, so you could constantly get a stream from us.
Well, I think Roth and Dan actually got the cell phones out and went live on
Right,
Facebook,
right.
DLP, and
Right,
all that.
yeah.
So they were going live on that. So all of a sudden, the walkies start messing up, and the walkie that's like next, like over there by Jeremiah, you hear this little girl talking,
Mhm.
but the walkie next to me, nothing.
And ours nothing on when it was doing it to you
Right.
guys.
But you guys were hearing her upstairs
Right.
At different times.
at different
At
times.
different times, it would come through only me and Dan's walkie, but not you guys'. But you guys could hear it because you're watching the live stream of us.
Yeah.
But it's the same person.
And
But-
yeah, at first the walkie would just trigger a couple times. Just click, 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 click,
Right.
and you're like, oh, am I bumping the walkie?
Right.
You know, is my fat roll pushing the
Oh,
button
my
or
God.
something, you know? And you're like, nope, and then you're holding it in your hand and it's doing it, and you're like,
Right.
what are you doing? And then you hear the little girl
Right.
mumble. I think she sang you guys a song, didn't she?
Oh, she sang us a song that was very, very close to the Friday the
Nightmare on Elm
Elm
Street.
Street.
Mhm.
She did that whole 1, 2, but instead of going Freddy for coming for you,
Yeah.
she did the number. She's like 1, 2, 3.
It was almost like she was
4.
like skipping rope or something.
It was
you
creepy, dude.
that
I've never
was
been-
great.
I've never been so like holy
Yeah.
shit in the moment. Plus
Right.
goosebumps, hair standing up on
Oh,
end.
yeah.
But so,
That was creepy.
Yeah,
so fast forward this
Okay, I will.
to when you and I and Roth went up there because Roth wanted us to go back up
Right.
there one night to see
Right.
if there's anything else. So we went back up there for like a brief moment, and because Roth was saying how the K2 and stuff was hitting high on a certain part upstairs.
Right.
So
You gotta go check it out and see. if it's
Roth and I
something.
went over there. So
Right.
Leo came up the stairs too, but he didn't go very far in, and he decided he was gonna like try to talk to her through
Okay.
the walkie, and he was
Right.
like talking and holding it up.
This was after the 50th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it was
the
way
50th.
after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's Roth and I way far away from Leo. We're like, you go up the stairs, you know where we're talking about.
Right,
so
right.
we're far in the other room.
Over by that big wheel thing?
We're not actually in the other room. We're actually, you go up the stairs and you go off to the left,
Mhm.
just that big open
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're right there. And I kid you not, I almost said, I'll just say, I shit you not. As I know Leo's over there talking to the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get her to talk, and through my walkie that I'm actually holding on to the antenna part. She starts talking through it,
Yep.
and
Did she say anything coherent?
he was asking, are you with us? And she goes, I'm right here.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's the same girl. That's the same
Mhm.
voice.
Yeah.
Like as far as the 50 goes, like I said, now if somebody knew we were down there, could they be close by, proximity, close range?
Could've been.
But the thing is, nobody knew we were there,
Well,
and
yeah, and if they were, if a kid had a walkie-talkie and figured out that we were on the same channel, every time she cued one of us, she'd have cued all of us.
right.
But she
That's
didn't.
Plus-
the thing about the walkies, is the walkies should always, everybody's on
Right.
that channel in that range should go off with the same stuff
Right.
every time. That's what makes it a phenomenon to me, is when it only happens to one person, because that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't even
Right.
be able to happen.
Yeah.
On the 50th it happened to you guys, and then it happened to us.
Mhm.
And it was really weird. I think that was when we ended being up there, because she would come through 3 or 4 times and mumble something.
Like she was.
And we were
Yeah.
like, what do you say? You got to talk. You got to tell us what you want.
Right.
Talk
Right.
clearly. And when we said that, she comes through plain as day and says, "Are you gonna leave yet?" I'm like, "Yep." I think
It's time to go.
I think we probably will.
Yeah.
So
And so, so down in Tahlequah, Callahan has that phenomenon happen,
Right.
but you backtrack that to when we were at the 20th Century Murdoch Theater.
Yeah.
And now were you there?
Yeah. That was my third investigation.
Third investigation.
Yeah.
So when we had the walkie incident with that,
Right.
where you even go back and listen to, and you can go on to
I'll just play it here.
everyday-legacy.com, and it's there that Leo has up on the website. It's at the 20th Century Murdoch Theater, and that night, some people were hearing music coming through the walkies, where other people were hearing a voice coming through the walkie.
Yeah.
is this one you play on the bus?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I love it because
It's really strange. Well, it's so out there that you have to point out the part that's not real, because when you just listen to it for the first time, you're like, where was the part nobody heard?
Right.
Because it just sounds like part of it. You
Right.
don't. Some EVPs that you get, you're like, oh yeah, it was that raspy voice,
Right.
But this one's just like, where was the part nobody heard? Because it's so in there,
And you can hear us
On the same
all
level
saying
with
different
everything.
things. That's what's bizarre.
right.
Because we're like,
Yeah,
there's three different people saying three different things.
yeah. You hear Ben saying, does anybody hear music as we're radio?
Right.
And we're like, no, but we did hear somebody say they're throwing up. It's
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, who's throwing up? Yeah.
It's a weird phenomenon, and that's the first time I've ever. And I remember we laid out the walkies. We had 4 or 5 of them.
Right.
We laid them out. We had KSN News
Okay.
with us
Yeah.
there that night, and they've been filming the whole time.
Yeah.
And
But I don't think they were there for that part.
they were there for most of the night.
No, they were only there very little. They got the pieces they want and they left because they were all freaked out.
Were they?
This was when we actually got to do the real investigation, yeah.
Because I could have sworn that she was there for that
Mm-hmm.
layout. Okay.
Not this part.
Well,
I'll play it real quick. We have it right
yeah.
here.
Go ahead.
What is this?
Background.
Yeah. Let's see.
No.
He said, somebody said that.
No.
So you can hear the walkie-talkie. You hear clear as day what says someone's up in the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah,
But
somebody's
you hear-
throwing up in the bathroom.
But that's Renee and Claire sitting in the main auditorium of the Murdoch Theater, while Ben and I are up on the very top, opposite end of the building. We're in a dressing room down the hallway, and we hear music playing through there. We don't hear that. We don't hear that.
You didn't hear the person
Not at
say
all.
somebody's throwing up in the
We didn't
bathroom.
hear talking at all. You hear this piano music playing, like an
Through the
organ.
walkie.
To
Yeah.
Milwaukee?
Wow.
Yeah, and it was creepy. It was just like a horror movie, like the typical
Yeah,
organ.
yeah.
That's what we heard, and that's why Ben's like, I go, okay, Ben, I'm like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, that's why he picks his walkie, he's like, somebody hear music? 'Cause, yeah, and I want to say, were you with Nicole at the time and Brendan? Did you guys hear anything different?
No, and she even radios in. And
I thought she did. I don't know why it's not on there.
You hear you guys.
Yeah, because she radios in and says
No,
no.
we're
but
supposed
we
about the
did feel-
father.
But we did hear somebody saying they're throwing up.
Oh, she heard that
Yeah,
part?
who,
Okay.
said, who said they were throwing up in the bathroom or something
Yeah.
like that?
Oh, yeah.
She said no, we're not hearing music.
Right.
But you and Ben,
We heard nothing of that.
but you're hearing music.
And you guys are almost basically below us,
Yeah.
and Renee and Claire on the other end from us. But you guys did almost the same thing. You guys did the same thing. We heard nothing of that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And that's a time, I'll never forget that case. And it's just, unfortunately, it's a personal experience between the Ben and I got to witness, because
Right.
I'm sitting across the room from him like I am with you guys right now, and I'm sitting in, there's a mirror I'm looking at would be behind you guys. I'm like, I can't see this. Ben goes, what's that red dot on you right before this happens? I go, what red dot? He goes, there's a red dot on you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I look down. I don't see a red dot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell are you seeing, dude? So I look in the mirror, and I can see it in the mirror, though.
Oh.
The reflection opposite of me. You know, I'm like, how can I see that? I go, well, there it is. Where the hell is it? I'm freaking out. Like, what is this dot? I don't see it. Well, then I look out, and I'm panicking because that's the time when the thing in the white, they saw a woman in white
Okay.
come up and down the stairs. I look up, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, she's right above me. And it's like she's floating above me at the same time. This is all happening. And Ben's like, do you hear that music? And it's just one after another. I've never been so startled in my life. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because it's like floating right here. I'm like, oh my god, you know, it made me startled, you know,
Right.
whatever, or it startled me, should I say. But this is all, and then that's when the walkie-talkies start going haywire. Once again, you talked about red dots earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the odds of activity happening or whatever?
I'm a firm believer that it is like the beginning of
Right.
activity.
You know, and if you do some research on it, people think it's always demonic, which is not.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but
Right.
we did have that the first time I ever met you was in Emily Dawn's salon,
You're right.
and we're in the basement, and we're in pitch black. I mean, you can't see anything. It's just dark, nothing, no lights, nothing, and we're sitting pitch
Like
black.
normal.
Yeah, we had no flashlights, we had nothing. I'm looking, I'm like, you guys seen these red dots? They're like, what red dots? And did you see him, Jason? Do you remember seeing him that day, that
Yeah.
time?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, I don't see. Wait a minute, there they are, right there, and they're
Yeah.
floating.
I
These
remember
things
that
are
night.
floating in the room,
Yeah.
but we're looking at them at once again different places. I'm looking over here. Their guys looking like this way. I'm like, well, that's right here, but they're like, no, it's right over here, and I'm like, well, it's over here. How could you see it over there? And it looks like a laser grid, but you don't see the trail of the laser. It's
Right,
just a
right,
dot in the air, and it's
Yeah.
like, now, is it the cones in your eyes adjusting to light? Yes, possibly,
It's
but
possible. But you've probably been in the dark for a while.
exactly, that's what I was gonna say with my butt.
I mean, it only takes
Yeah.
15, 20 seconds to adjust usually.
We've been sitting in the dark for a while. That's
Yeah.
just it. So it's not the same. It was bizarre. That's the first time I ever seen the red dots like that on a case, which
Yeah.
happened to be my first case. Well, I wasn't even a part of the team yet. We were just got a chance to go investigate. So it's pretty wild. I want to play the thing since you missed it, Jason, because the sound was off. That's why you couldn't hear it in the studio.
Okay.
I played it for the people at home. This is what I was talking about when we first got to Tahlequah, that very last trip. You hear the car doors of the. We were in the RV, so you hear the door slamming. But this is what was captured. Singing.
What?
I think it says I'm gonna kill you.
It says you know it, yeah. You know it, yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Like I said, I wanted Jason's take. He's never heard it, so.
No.
I didn't
Mine.
either.
Yeah, this is the first time.
And
I've
I was
heard it.
there.
Yeah, but you were in a different vehicle. Remember, you had your truck.
Yeah.
And I don't think you went. Did you go straight to there? No, you took Nicole to the hotel first.
Right.
So this is when it just rode with myself, Jeremiah, Brendan, and Renee. Because Paul and Michelle didn't show up to a day later. Remember that we
Right.
went there Thursday. They came on Friday night or Friday afternoon
Right.
later on. So
But we weren't far behind you.
right. But we went to the.
So remember, Roth got stuck in the mud and all that.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? We stopped at the hotel first. Because remember, Roth was going to try to put the water
Yeah.
through the
So
RV.
we were with you.
We waited. You took Nicole in, and then we waited. We all went back. That's right. Okay, to the place. So you were there during this time, but it was you and your dad. It was no other females. So it just
Right.
the only person it could have been would have been Renee. Which
Yeah, that was
That's not her.
no, I know she's watching right now. She's just said, "What the heck? I don't know that we captured. I didn't know we captured that."
Well, you know now.
Yeah,
Was that you?
it's not her. It's not her. It's
That
because
is crazy.
it's me stepping out of I think the RV or Jeremiah's truck. I can't remember. I rode part of the way with Jeremiah's truck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't remember which part that was, but you can hear the doors slamming. That's us getting out of the cars when we first get there.
Right.
So, but that's just one of the EVPs. And like I said, Tahlequah has always been weird. I mean, to us, every time we go there, it changed story to story. I mean, just the feeling we experienced.
It's almost like the moment we arrive, be aware because there's something weird happening.
Yeah.
Because from the moment Jeremiah first got there,
saw the full
first
body.
time you got there,
Yeah.
and then again there.
Yeah. What Jason was referring to the first time we got there was, well, I stepped foot out of the vehicle and I got the weird. It's broad daylight once again. It's afternoon. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just feel like things are watching you immediately from the forest everywhere. And this is during. It had been March, the first time I ever went there, and everything was dead. You know, as far as trees and everything like that. So you could see broken limbs and stuff. You couldn't see any leaves or anything. Grass, you know, all that stuff. But anyways, I see this is right before we went to actually investigate, I think, is when I saw the full body. I saw this black shadow run from behind those same forests where I've been watching, things been watching us all day, run from there to the house, the broken down house that's dilapidated, basically. And I'm like, I go to Jason, I go, hey, I just saw something run into the house, by the way. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. We're just sitting there staring, and this is, you know, it's starting to get dusk at that time. We're just looking in the back, and you can hear things bumping around in there. It's just so I'm not all the way crazy.
No.
This is something in there, ran in there, and.
No, I mean, the house we were at last night had almost the same type of, one of the things they said they see is something that runs from the trees.
Oh, the tree line? Yeah.
To the house.
Uh-huh.
Jake
I forgot about that.
I saw it
You did see it?
for a split second. I did while we were outside.
Right.
We took a recorder outside, had a smoke break, just kind of milled around, let the house settle for a little bit before we went back in. And yeah, I was talking to you. It was just random. I was talking to you, and it was like I drifted off talking to you because I saw. Well, there was a telephone pole. There's a bunch of trees, and it's night. And there's a light. You know, so there's a little bit of light out there, and I'm talking to Jason, just kind of staring out, and it was almost like this black shadow walked out from behind this telephone pole that was probably 30 yards away from where we were at.
Really?
But I never saw it walking from the other side, like to where it would pass behind it. It was like it just came out from behind it, walking towards the house, and then 4 or 5 steps, it just kind of disappeared, you know?
What the hell?
And like earlier before you shown up, I think Roth has seen the same thing out in the same area.
Out in the same area, yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry.
It's crazy.
It's always fun to connect the phenomena in different places, because I mean, if we get to it on the Tahlequah thing, I can even connect a lot of the phenomena there to some phenomena that reported happening in a different place that has a lot of the same characteristics, including some of the same ley lines, a lot of the same ley lines running through it that end up at Tahlequah. So, you know, it's just...
And what I love also is the fact that we don't, you know, we're not freaking out by stuff. We actually smile, laugh, and like we're excited that things are happening and seeing that weird stuff. We're not like what you see on TV or on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
People flipping their shit out and just like going nuts, like they saw it. You know, playing up to the
camera.
I was shot out of the chair and through the ceiling when he got hit with the cowboy hat.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
Oh yeah.
And
He
possessed,
went
by
out
the way.
screaming.
You forgot possession.
I mean, yeah, I dropped an F-bomb, but I think that's fairly
But you guys
acceptable.
were very calm, because I was actually watching the video of the basement, and I could hear the commotion happening, and you all talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because from the audio, the cameras pick it up really well.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, "Ah, damn it, you know, because here I am in the dining room area going, damn it,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
missing again, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You left the house and said the house was possessed and everything else. And
Some of these other ones I'll play real quick. These are involve EVPs until I get the video up. I might play one video, but it's not much. But this is the very first trip that we ever went. This used to be in our intro, our original Cryptic Harley intro, the very first one we ever did. You're going to hear me have my usual genuine reaction because I'm like, what the? It's Jason and I and Brandon talking. We hear this thing. I thought it was I questioned it being an owl. Brandon he went to school to become I forget what it's called, park ranger or something. But anyway, he's outdoors. He's an outdoorsman,
Like
whatever.
forestry.
Forestry, yeah. So he knows the animal types. We went back and researched this, and it's not a wild boar. It's not an owl. It's not I don't know what it is. Well, I'll just play it. And this is what helps with the whole Bigfoot thing we thought we experienced. Not only this, but this was something we audibly heard. Jason, myself, and Brendan, and nobody else heard it. On the right one. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. You hear the yell?
Yeah.
At the beginning there, that grunt.
No. There.
Yeah.
That's a yell.
It doesn't sound that way to me.
It's not a grunt. It's
Sounds
a.
like a grunt to me.
You don't hear the yeah.
Mm.
To me, it reminds me of an old Indian yelling,
Indian yell.
like a.
Indian yell.
That wasn't the
Sounds
bit.
different to me, I guess.
That wasn't the clip I was supposed to play. Damn it. This is typical for tonight.
Well, we heard that one anyway.
I'm trying to figure out what in the hell those pictures keep popping. I know what the picture is. That's from Tahlequah, by the way. That was the ritual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it keeps popping up. We can just use that as background for now. It's fine. No, the one I
I mean,
wanted.
it's us. I mean, it's from that night.
This is the one I meant to play. Sorry, guys. That Jason and Brennan and I heard.
Operator error.
You'll hear. This is how the night's going.
Kind of just want to like charge it. Take it off the river. I go up to the house. Bam! I don't believe. Yeah. What the fuck was that?
This is sad.
That was loud.
I turned it up louder.
That kid was loud. I just want to like
It's repeating itself now.
take it off the river. I go up to the house. Bam! I don't believe.
It's like it's great.
Yeah. What the fuck was that? That was loud, man.
So what you're hearing, yeah, it gets a little bit staticky. I turned it up loud just for this show tonight. You hear Jason talking about it because he's like kind of not really frustrated, but you know, gets like everybody gets impatient. You want everything to happen right there and then, you know. Because I kind of wanted to go up to the house and like start banging on the walls, you know, and
Yeah.
just you know. Anyways,
Sometimes you gotta stir it up.
yeah. Well, where he's saying that, you hear something go in the faint, go woo, and then it goes. I can't do the second part real loud because it's too high. It's like woo. It's real loud. Was it Bigfoot talking to each other? I don't know. That's kind of what we've leaned towards in this, because we know where it's coming from. It came from the forest that's adjacent to the property. Because the opposite end is the 30-foot bluffs that drop off I told you about earlier. So it can only come from one direction. But when we listen to it more and it's around, it's like they're talking to each other, basically. There's two of them going back and forth.
And it's happened on multiple visits there
Right.
when we've done it,
Right.
not just this one time.
Because I was doubting even when I caught it. When I heard it with my ears. Now, when we heard it with our ears, it was, of course, as usual, it was 10 times louder. But the weird thing is, only Brendan, Jason, and myself heard it. We were standing by a truck right over here talking, where the food was at,
Yeah.
and drinks. The rest of them were by the campfire over here.
Uh,
And they were oblivious to it. Nobody else heard it, and we were just looking at each other, and that's why I go, what the was that? Because you could hear it, and we heard it echoing from the woods. And it was loud, and that doesn't do it justice. That's why I had to turn it up, because even it's even lower on recording, so it was in the distance for sure. The thing that's intriguing about this is, earlier in that day, Brendan and I had gone out there. This is before he started Bigfoot in Kansas. We went out there looking for said Bigfoot, because that was part of the claims. He said, I wanted to look out there, and he's a tracker, so he was looking for tracks. We came down, there's a main path you walk down, and we found a big-ass track. I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's barefoot, not a bear, but a bear, like no socks, no shoes, foot, gigantic, that Brandon snapped his camera out. He started taking pictures of it he had a full-spectrum camera. And we were like, let's walk the whole track. So we walked to the clear as far as we could, and we went to the end, and it goes off to another bluff where you fall off, basically. So we start doubling back, and I don't know why we looked. We looked to our left, coming back towards the camp, and it's I don't know how long it is, but it's a long walk. We walk back, we look over to the side, and we start seeing some weird like markings on trees. Like, what the hell is that?
And they're up high.
Yeah. So we, instead of going on the path, we started climbing through the forest, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here? I'm not an outdoors person myself. I went out there, I'm like, screw it, let's go. I'm here for the adventure, let's go. We go out there, and there's these big, huge-ass scratching, like something that take the bark, started scratching it off, like claw marks, and they're way up, and Brendan's 6'4", somewhere down there.
We're about the same height.
Yeah, he reaches up, he can't reach them. Like, he has to stretch, and he's trying to reach them, and I'm like, this thing's, I don't know, 10 feet off in the trees. I'm like, holy shit. So we're looking, when we start noticing, we kind of look behind, because this trees everywhere. We're not noticing kind of like a highway, we'll call it, where we see these tree bends start happening. Down the way, tree bend. The further you get, tree bend, it's like this is their communication. They're walking down this wooded area. All these tree bends are happening. So we start following them, and then I look off in the corner, and I notice these things up in the trees. Everybody saw the Blair Witch, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know those stick figures? I mean,
Oh yeah.
I started seeing that shit, and hanging from the trees high up. I'm like, the fuck am I looking at?
It's like crosses, like X
Yeah,
marks a spot type thing, which a lot of
What are they hanging
researchers.
by?
just, I don't know. They're not thread or anything. It's just up in the trees. Like, they're hanging in the trees.
Or vines or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember, honestly, but I could see them clear as day, and I'm like, because they're not just branches hanging. They're actual figures of, I don't know what those are. I mean, but
Did you get any pictures of them?
no, because I didn't have this is back in 2012 before iPhone and all that stuff was out. It might have been out, but
None of us had it.
I had it, but I think at the time I had limited pictures because that's back when you had like a 2 gig, 4 gig, whatever phone, and it ate pictures up. So I think I was full or something, whatever, of pictures and stuff.
Now, Brendan, I think he has it all.
I want to say he doesn't have that part. I want to say he went back and got his camera after we found all this stuff, and then he came back to take pictures of the because we marked it.
Yeah.
He came back and got that. Well, we keep walking down the same, like I'll call it a highway to them. We start noticing the little shelters. These they're all trees.
They look like
Twigs.
nests,
Yeah.
type bedding type thing that they
Yeah.
from small to large.
We found a couple of them just off in the distance. Like that looks like something's been nesting here, basically. Yeah, and it's big, whatever, you know.
And regardless, of what it is or what it is, something intelligent was actually moving
Right.
about through the woods right now.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
You know.
And this is during dusk, right? Or when the sun's starting to go down. So we go back because Brendan wanted to get his camera and mark it, take a picture, and he did take a picture of it. Well, it wasn't. We told these guys about it, and it was too dark to see. But later on, you guys go looking for it, and then get chased.
Yeah.
And so do we. But anyways, we go back the next day when it's bright and sunlight. We told these guys all about it. They were like, let's look for those things again. And then we start noticing more of those nests where they're, like I said, it's kind of a slope of a hill. They're getting closer to the property. Like they're getting closer and
Yeah.
getting braver to the
And
brothers.
This isn't like a public hunting ground or anything like that. This is on their property.
Yeah.
And neither brother are in the condition to be up doing anything weird
No.
like that.
And why?
I mean,
My guess is, they are in Cherokee. Maybe it means something to them.
maybe.
But
I don't know.
You would-
I don't know.
You would have to take a ladder out
But-
I'm
there.
not trying to sound mean, but the Indians do
Yeah.
a lot of different things
Right.
like that. The
Oh, I know.
Native Americans,
Right.
From
that we don't understand.
tree breaks, maybe. I don't know if that means anything to them. I don't think so, but maybe. But
Well,
the
it could be.
scratching, it looked animal.
Well, okay, the scratching. Did you happen to notice if it was on a particular type of tree?
I don't remember, dude.
Which
That's
one was
been-
don't remember.
that's been 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I didn't have my book with
Yeah.
trees and stuff.
Almost 8 years ago to
You
the
know,
day.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there? Are you?
I know
It's
bears.
not
I know
living,
bears
I mean-
do that.
Right, but then if they were all, there's certain types of trees that only turkeys will roost in, and they'll be up high scratching around like that.
Right.
These are like very long
There's-
scratches, like
there are
like what
mountain,
like
Yeah.
there
a
are
bear would
mountain
do.
lions
Sure.
in that area, and
Yeah.
they'll climb.
I know there
up
is, yeah.
in trees like that.
It was
No
just-
problem. I mean, they can climb up there.
That's why we started carrying guns and stuff because the
Yeah.
fact there is boars out there, there is mountain lions, there
It's
is
just-
brown bears out there, or
I'm
Like
not
black
trying to
jerseys.
say you guys didn't
No,
see it.
I believe I know exactly what you're saying because
I
I was
haven't had
dumbfounded.
my experience yet, so
Yeah.
I'm still
It's
thinking
just
Right.
about
you
the
know,
whole Bigfoot thing.
because
Sure.
Brendan's kind of like you. He's been an
Actually,
outdoorsman.
he's he's worse than you as far as
Well,
skepticism. He
Well,
doesn't
yeah,
believe
he's
anything.
very skeptic,
Anything.
and he's
You at least believe some of the stuff because you experience
he
it.
goes out
He
hunting
still
with his
doesn't.
friends and stuff like that. He doesn't per se like actually do the hunting and shooting, but they take him along because he's a good tracker.
Mm.
But he's looking up at all this stuff, and he's like, "That's not normal. None of these markings are actually normal stuff.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to any of the animals that are in this area,
Yeah.
just from where they are and the lack of branches to where it was."
The bends were up high. The tree bends were up high.
Yeah.
And way up in the air. Like I said, we couldn't reach them, and you could just see like it was going down the forest, down where it was moving, and we went back. I said out the next day to show these guys what we had saw. We found the same big footprint, and then we started going the opposite way of what we saw, and we found more footprints to where we found the one with the broken off pinky, where it was like, this is his foot. This one was facing out that way,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
where it's
I've
broken.
broke my pinky toe like that before.
Where it's broken, yeah, and this thing's out there wandering in the woods. Well, it kept going, and we followed the footprints to where the last one was, and then you look over, and there's another drop bluff where, okay, where's the carcass down there? Of course, now if it died going over this ledge,
Or
Yeah.
it just climbed
it's not
down.
there.
Or it just climbed down.
Yeah.
Now, everybody raises the question, we talked about this before, why don't you see the Bigfoot carcasses anywhere?
That's
Well,
what I've
'cause
always said.
But how many deer, how many elk, how many stuff, no elk around here, how many deer carcasses do you see out in the woods?
I've found enough that
Do you see lots of them, or do you see occasional?
I've personally seen enough of them that if I've seen this many of them, everybody else that's been out there has seen this many of them, and if there was a Bigfoot one, somebody would have ran across it by now.
So the carcasses that you're seeing, are they
Fresh,
Are they-
number one?
Sometimes.
but are they from being attacked by mountain lion or a predator of some kind?
Sometimes it's that, sometimes it's they got sick, sometimes it's a hunter made a bad
Right.
shot, sometimes it's they
And
got
they
hit
die
by a
eventually.
car and
But-
ran
Sure.
off.
How often have you gone out into the woods and seen a dead human?
Not in the woods, but I've seen it a few times in Wichita.
Okay,
Seriously, I
but,
have.
right, but
I
off
know.
in the woods hunting and stuff. When's the last time you saw like a human laying out there just randomly?
I haven't found one, but I know
Okay.
other people have.
Yeah, right, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it happens, you know. But,
Right.
but I'm
I
just
have
saying.
to think that somebody would have found a Bigfoot carcass by now.
Well, the thing is, does nature take over though? I mean, animals feed off of this thing, take bits
What-
and pieces of the
Maybe,
meat.
but
And,
some,
What
of,
if-
some of the carcasses I found are just bones.
But
Yeah.
at
But
the
you
same
can still
time,
tell what
Sure.
it was.
But at
Right.
the same time, you know what I'm getting at is like, if the creature is intelligent, and from what everybody and researchers say, most of the time they're not alone. They're traveling in herds, or
right,
packs.
they're nomadic creatures,
So
right?
if one dies,
That's the thing.
they drag
take
them off.
They take their own,
because there's
supposedly.
been stories and claims of people who have open fired at them as they're running off through their field, and they know they've dropped one. They got it straight in the back, and they saw it drop. By the time they're out there, they can see the drag marks of the body being dragged by whoever it was
Where's the
with.
blood?
Well, they didn't talk about blood or anything like that, you know.
Yeah. Plus they're,
But I mean, they
they're
may
inter-
have.
plus
I
they're
mean,
interdimensional
it was
creatures,
a
right?
while. It was many years ago that I actually read the story, but it was on the VFRO
Yeah,
website.
right,
It
right.
was a case that happened out in Texas,
Right.
because animals were kept on, like the deer were coming up and eating all the pea pods and all the kind of crops up there close to the house,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting to find some deer carcasses out there too,
Right.
along with it. So he stood out there and he had his rifle and he was going to scare off the deer, get them the hell off his property too from eating his crops.
Sure.
When one night he saw the actual bipedal creatures out there chasing after the deer, so he just opened fire.
Yeah.
And he claims he knows he got one because he saw it drop. And by the time he got his boys together and they ran out there into the field to get it, it had already been dragged off. You could see it being dragged off. But
Yeah.
that's just, one case out of
Right.
millions.
Right.
So I don't know. Do they take care of themselves out there?
Well, and I
Because
know.
out in Tahlequah, there's many nests in different
Right.
areas, and the footprints all didn't match each other.
No, different shapes, sizes. Yeah.
So obviously it was different groups of them
Yeah.
out there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But we also heard the paranormal. I mean, we're down there by the
Sure.
creek bed, hearing the screams and stuff like that, but
Right.
also hearing voices and children
Right.
down there in the creek bed area. I
Yep.
mean, there's so much activity going on.
And there was no children when we were at in the middle of the
Yeah,
night. This is
there's-
like probably 1, 2 in the morning. There shouldn't be children out there.
Yeah.
Multiple children, you know,
Right.
giving us intelligent answers to our questions.
But that does frustrate me, the fact that there hasn't been a skeletal or
Right.
yeah, it does. It frustrates me, you know, because that's one question I can't ever answer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
But
The most I can say is that they take their own body. We don't know
It's
how
like,
they
if I
think.
never
We don't know how
found
they
any
think.
carcass, no, but I know people have.
sure.
I mean,
Right.
it's happened.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
back when this was going on, I liked the stories behind them, but I didn't believe in it as much as I had never experienced it until that trip. And then I was like, I don't know what I just experienced based
Right.
upon what I just saw. Because we had the same interactions when we were sleeping at night with, you hear the typical stories that they do, they rock through. We had
Yeah,
rocks
yeah,
getting
yeah.
fired into our camp.
Yeah.
You actually heard the tree knocks, the banging of, you know, it's like 2x4s getting banged out there in the forest. Plain as day, we heard the growls, like these big, heavy, guttural growls, you know, that I've never experienced before. That I know I was scared shitless because I'm not an outdoorman. I don't camp. I'm a city person. First and foremost, I like running water, I like technology, and I'm every little thing. I'm like, and plus I'm a light sleeper, so anything I hear, I jump up like, what the hell was that? Jeremiah, who's crazy, was out sleeping on the floor by the fire, no tent,
Yeah.
because that's where the warmest part of the
Right.
tent, fire was. And we were hearing these big heavy footfalls come through camp, and that's when I saw the big black shadow. We talked about it time and time again, because the fire was casting, you know,
But what did Jeremiah see, or was he asleep during that?
he just heard it. He could hear it, because we came out at one point because the fire was dying, and
Right, but he didn't see the big black shadow?
He didn't
look?
say. He's never said he did.
he was laying there by the fire. He could hear the heavy footsteps,
because it's on dirt,
Coming in.
on dirt.
and he's
Yeah.
up in his sleeping bag, and he says, "You know what? I honestly couldn't get myself to move."
Because we're
He
dead
said
tired.
it was so heavy and so, you know, it was just the heavy footsteps that were coming in close to him.
Right,
That he's like, I don't even want to look at this because I don't know what the hell this is.
right. And I didn't want to come out of my tent because I came out when everybody else came out. I'm like, I'm not going to go out and see what this fucking thing is. I can see it moving.
Because it actually was pushing
Well,
down in on
yeah.
the tent, too.
You gotta remember, I've only been with the team for I started in September 2011. This is March of 2012, and I've never experienced Bigfoot. Like I said, I'm not an outdoorsman. I'm like, I don't go camping, I don't do that shit. I'm like, if I hear somebody else get up, I'll challenge it in a pack. But whatever this is, I'm not fucking moving. I can see it, and I'm
See,
like,
and another thing is like, we always keep saying, you know, oh, I jump out and do it, and I would do it. In the heat of the moment, it's like you just almost kind of freeze because you don't know what the fuck it is.
yeah, I was terrified,
You know,
honestly.
It's like it just freezes you. Even
Yeah,
Brendan,
the opposite
even Brendan's
principle,
like, yeah, I know you do. But Brendan, you know, he was like always saying, you know, well, you know, I'll go right after it and stuff
Right.
like that, or I'll always have my camera, you know, and he's
don't.
like, you
Oh, no,
know.
you don't always have
You don't.
No,
You know,
I
and that's
always
another
say that.
thing. Well, I mean, he didn't say that, but
Right.
he made the comment like, you know, everyone yelled at him for not having his camera ready or anything. But when stuff's happening like that, and you're seeing a creature,
You're saying something.
you're
Yeah,
you're not in a rational mind of thought when it comes to that, because it's something that is beyond what you ever imagined you were going to
Yeah.
see, kind of like the paranormal. You know, it's just going to freeze you for a moment, and you may not react fast enough to do
Yeah.
what you think you want to do. I always keep saying that I would charge at it as fast as I could and grab a hold of a leg while it, you know, as it ran off, and I'd rip off some hair, you know, while
Oh my
it beats
God.
the crap out of me. But, you know,
Oh yeah, it just grab you by the head and run
Yeah.
away with
Yeah.
yeah, probably. But you know, I always have these thoughts in my head. You know, this is
Sure.
what I'm going to do in certain situations, and it never turns out that way.
yeah. No, and the thing is, though, this thing was walking around and just shoving our tents.
you. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
pushing down on it, pushing down.
Which is another.
You were in the big
Except-
family
except-
tent. You had a big ass tent. They had a big old family, like a
Yeah.
huge ass.
Brendan's on that side, I'm on this side, and
Yeah.
we're both on cots.
And they fell asleep first. Cause remember, I was talking,
we
telling
were
jokes.
Snoring.
I was telling jokes about them.
Oh yeah, we were snoring. So I
Yeah.
don't remember anything happening. I remember barely waking up, just getting startled, and I hear this gut growl
Yeah.
and scream coming from off in the distance. It had to be in the tree line, and I just remember hearing that. But I'm so out of it that
Right.
I think that it's just dreaming. And then I
Right.
wake up to hear you guys talking about it. I'm like, I was like, shit, that was for real?
That's when Ben got out of his tent finally. He's like, and Claire's awake, and then Jan
Yeah, 'cause
comes
it's
out.
starting to get a little daylight to it.
And I come out because the fire's going down, and Ben went to put more on, and he's like, we all heard this noise, so that's why we come out. So he's adding more fire to it. And that's when
Jeremiah left to go get his coffee.
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, this is
Sorry,
still. This
come
is
out
still.
yet.
No, this
He
is
already
still
took
the night. This is still
Before I came
nighttime.
out.
Because he came out, and Anthony rolls over, and he's like, that's when he tells us, yeah, it's been around the camp the whole night. I've been hearing it.
Okay, well, I hadn't woke
Yeah.
up to
No,
that.
you weren't. That was daytime. He left in the morning. I woke up when he woke up to go get coffee because it was sunlight at that point. I'll play some more stuff here before we only have a little bit left. I'll play some more kind of things on the same line with this thing.
Real quick,
no.
One of the viewers said, what if Bigfoot actually mimics humans? Well, see, that's the thing, like their voices or anything like that. We don't know. I mean,
No.
even researchers have collected what they think is the audible communication between two of them.
Sure.
There is, if you go and look at the Sierra Bigfoot voices, I think you can Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Sierra,
There's quite a few of
Sierra
these sites,
Nevada.
right,
It's like
right,
Sierra Bigfoot voices. There's like a guy, I guess how it was. He's under a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
He's hiking and hunting and all that, and he's under a cliff, and he hears all this weird chatter
Sure.
up above him. I don't know how he came about knowing whether or not it was Sasquatch, whether he saw activity that day.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 2 or 3 of them having a conversation, and it almost sounds Korean or
What?
Asian. It's weird voices. It's weird on
Mm-hmm.
how their dialect is. And apparently, if you go with research on that being passed off and stuff, some linguistic...
Linguistics,
I think you
yeah.
said it right.
Linguini. The
linguini.
pasta.
Some people who study voices in
Yeah.
language and stuff
Right.
heard it and could tell that it's not like a known language that we know per se,
Sure.
but it is an actual language because you could hear a conversation happening.
Right.
But who knows who the hell it was or what it was
Yeah.
up there. But to the point of mimicking us, I don't know. You have the legend of the Wamigo, or not the Wamigo. it's the
Wendigo.
Wendigo.
I was like, who? The town?
Wendigo.
I don't know anything about that.
No, the Wendigo.
Yeah.
You have the legend of that supposedly does mimic us. And
Oh, right,
We've
right.
had, I'm sure we've all had spirits, what we consider spirits, mock us.
Well, yeah.
We hear it all the time. We have
You
we have
hear your
recordings
own
of it.
voice, and that's really creepy.
Well,
Yeah.
and we talked about it during the shop.
Yeah, we heard Rose's voice coming through, and Rose wasn't with us.
Right.
Through the spirit box. He wasn't even there that night. He didn't come at all. He didn't show up. He wasn't outside. He wasn't doing anything.
We had Michelle who screamed out for help.
We talked about it last
and
week.
it
Yeah.
turned out not to be her.
Yeah.
That was bizarre. I'll never forget that. Going back to kind of the whole thing with Brandon too, him being a skeptic. Like I said, he is the biggest skeptic you ever meet, and he will often shoot down most things versus saying it's paranormal even or whatever. This first trip was enough to entice him that he's like, I know what we experienced. I know what I saw. That I see. That's when he formed Bigfoot in Kansas as a result,
Yeah.
because he's like, I'm gonna go out and look for these things.
Well,
now.
if I
I'm gonna
have
have
some
to-
sort of
yeah,
experience, I might change my mind.
Right.
But
Right.
that's how Rose was too, and it still
until
kind
then,
of
I
is.
can't.
Yeah, no, and we're not here to convince you.
I grew up in the outdoors.
Right.
I've heard a lot
My
of people say
family
that.
vacations
I know.
weren't to an amusement park or a city.
Right.
I've been.
I talked to hunters too. I talked to hunters about stuff like this. Yeah.
It's so hard for me to
Yeah.
buy it.
There's been
Yeah.
there's been hunters that say the same thing as you. It's hard for me to buy because I've been doing this all my life.
Right.
Never seen it. Then there's other hunters I've talked to that are like, I never believed it until it actually happened.
Well, and I talked to my father-in-law, who's a huge hunter, and he's like, I asked him flat out one day, because I don't know where he lies on this stuff. He knows I do this shit, and he's like, whatever, you know. And I was like, have you ever seen anything weird or heard anything weird, hunting? And he goes out there, and he'll sit in tree blinds or, stands or whatever, and all that stuff, and he goes, I'm not saying that I haven't heard anything or seen anything like that. I've never physically seen, I can tell you right now, I've never seen anything, he said. But when you're out there in the middle of nowhere, it's most times it's quiet.
Right.
He said you hear some weird shit out there, plain as day. I mean, shit that you can't explain, that it's like, I don't know what I just heard, but I have my gun right here, so if I have to use it, I'm gonna, because it's either him or me, or it's us or them, whatever this thing is. And now, it doesn't mean it couldn't be an animal, wild animal. It could be a human, it could be whatever, but...
Well, and Roth had that friend of his, just south, down by Peck, Kansas, who was up in a tree blind. He was sitting there, never believed in anything like this in his life. All of a sudden, a horrible smell came around, and next thing he knows, he's got all these dirt clods and rocks being thrown at him, and the sounds of something, just anger out there, those growling sounds, and just big chunks of dirt and rocks just being chucked at him. It freaked him out so much that he had to call his wife and have her and boys come pick him up from the tree.
Right.
Yeah, because he wouldn't get down from it. He was too freaked out.
Right. So like I said, Brandon does the whole Bigfoot in Kansas thing and goes out and does this now. Fast forward to the same last trip we were there with the couple clips I played already. We're in the RV. Jason and them are out. Jason's back at the hotel, I think, aren't you?
We were on our way back.
Okay.
We went to go check on her.
To Nicole and everybody.
And my dad and I were on our way back when I get a phone call from Roth, and this is about 2 a.m.
Well, Roth's not there at this time. Roth?
Right, I know. He got a call from you guys.
Right.
Something. So he calls me immediately saying, "Where are you? They've just had an encounter."
Right.
I'm like, we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're almost there. I pull up to see, Roth kind of standing there, but you and Brendan are kind of pacing back and forth, and you're all looking around.
Right.
And Brendan's kind of held over this one spot in the grass.
Right.
And I'm like, what is going on? And then you guys tell me the sighting that happened.
Well, we're in the RV because we're playing I'm showing some footage we caught from somewhere else, different location he hadn't saw yet.
Right.
And so we're just showing some stuff. It's just Renee, myself, and him. And everybody else, Roth, Jeremiah, I don't remember who else was with them. They all leave to go to the cemetery, which is about, you've been there. You saw how far it is.
Well,
It's around the section.
Roth and Jeremiah didn't leave to the cemetery. They went to go get smokes.
I thought that was the night they were doing the cemetery thing.
No, they went to go get smokes. So they went into town a little bit. I went into town. You guys, the three of you, were left there. So they came back and I came back from town.
Yeah.
And
but what I was going to say was, when this thing starts happening, once again, Brendan, who was a skeptic, who started Bigfoot in Kansas as a result, we're sitting there talking. There's two big dogs. They're Rottweiler, I think.
Yeah.
They're big Rottweilers. One's named Indian name for bear. It's Kona. Is it Kona? I think it is.
I think so.
Kona. And it's it's protective of us. Like it doesn't know us. We've been there how many times, but it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a human and you're on the property, it's protective of you.
Right.
Which is awesome to have out there.
Right. Yeah.
So we're sitting there in the RV talking, and we have lights on inside, and then nobody's out there except for us three inside the RV. All of a sudden, the dogs start going crazy, and we're like, "The fuck's going on?" So we look, and then that's when Brendan spots the thing in the trees. He's like, turn the lights off for a minute. And Brendan, who's 6'4", once again, who's into this shit, all of a sudden, his demeanor goes from whatever to holy shit. Like, he once again, thinking about charging out. You ask about charging out after whatever.
Because he told me he turned off the dome light.
Yeah,
put you guys in the dark, and he sees this thing.
But his demeanor changes. He's not like, I'm gonna go charge it. He's like, oh god, what the fuck is am I looking at? He's like, I'm not saying he was scared.
No.
He just wasn't about to go charge after the thing. He was like, oh shit, what the fuck is that kind of thing? We look over there and I see what he's looking at, and this thing's crouched down watching us.
Yeah, just crouched down. He said it was huge, and he could see it running its hands
in the grass.
into the wet grass and everything. 'Cause
Right.
every so often you can see the palms of its hands
Yep.
a little lighter in
Yeah.
color.
It was just
in
going
the
back and
moonlight.
forth, just kind of like
But
sitting
he
there
was
watching
sitting there
us. Yeah.
watching and just rubbing the grass and
Right.
watching. And he told me he stepped out, tried to get out as quietly as he could,
Right.
but tripped on a cord.
Right,
Kinda
because the
stumbled
DVR is
out.
going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the time he rounded the
Thing shot off into the woods.
it was already gone.
Now, I didn't have a gun on me, but we took guns that time because there was reported of bears and stuff and then things out there. And plus, we had experience prior to that we didn't want to be unprotected.
Yeah.
But I had a big ass machete this long, and the whole trip I never once brought it out. Never, it was within reach always. But that was the first time I took it out. I'm like, because if we're gonna go out, we're gonna have to go out swinging. 'Cause, I mean, and Renee, who's usually not really too much scared, but she's
Yeah.
freaking freaked out of her freaking mind. She didn't want to go out. She was scared. Generally, she'll tell you she was scared. But we go out there looking for this thing towards the direction it was, and we could see when we got to this location, you could see the grass rising up where his thing had been just sitting because it started to get kind of misty out.
Yeah.
Not like heavy, just enough to where the grass was starting to get damp a little
Right.
bit, and you could see the grass raising up. And you couldn't. I didn't hear it crashing off into the woods. I think Brennan said he heard it, but I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. We couldn't cast it because the grass was so wet. Even the next day, but it was still pretty wild. Just what I saw and witnessed, and it was terrifying. I mean, and I think that's the time we heard something behind us.
But that's what they.
That's basically kind of what he saw.
Yeah, we heard something behind us, like behind. So we made us turn around and look because we thought someone was coming behind us. That we started to look back that way and walk kind of towards that way. We think that whatever was behind us was warning the thing in front of us to take off, distract us enough to where it would go out and make it escape. I have pictures of that. I can
That's
play. I can show real quick. I shouldn't say this because then I can't probably find like dumbass.
Well, it's already 9:04.
Yeah, that's fine. I want to end on one something. It's fine.
I choose a phone.
I can find it real quick. Here, it won't take me 2 seconds. I know
No
that.
problem.
I know exactly what it's at. And then I got one thing I want to end on.
Okay.
No, I said I can't find it probably.
You're fine. You'll find it.
I will. It's right here. I'm clicking on it now.
Big Jeopardy music.
And you gotta be kidding me. What in the hell?
Yeah.
Here we go again.
No, sir.
That's all right.
It's right here. Hang on.
He's on it.
Who's on it?
You.
Oh,
You.
I just said he. I'm like, what are they doing?
You.
Renee says she felt like it surrounded the RV.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that after you guys ran out, Brandon, as he's relaying the story to me, you guys went charging over to where it was squatting
Right.
and everything, and then shining flashlights around and trying to look for it when all of a sudden all this commotion started happening behind
As
the
I
house
said, yeah.
and everything. So he said he turned around to run back that way, and then he was like, shit, there's two of them.
Right. Like that was
One
morning.
to make commotion while the other one got off
Yeah.
that way, and then, it was easy.
Yeah. We're gonna put up behind us. This is the view. Next day we reenacted it. This is the view from the RV. The RV hasn't moved in 4 days. We
Right.
parked it and sat there. This is Sunday morning. We can see it that close from us, the windshield, to, I'll take us off so you can see a little better. And you can see pretty much what it is, but now you can see a lot better. So Brendan had me take a picture of it. So there's a dashboard of the RV. So it was pretty damn close to us, so we can make out and see. You can see Brandon hunched down. Like
Did
I
you
said,
happen to like turn the headlights on the RV or
He
anything?
didn't.
So
No.
he didn't.
no. We turned the dome light up inside there,
Right.
and that's when we walked
And
out.
It was a pretty clear night, and I guess the moonlight was really good that
Yeah,
night,
yeah.
and he could see the hands and the arms
Right.
moving, so you could tell it's not a bear,
Yeah.
nothing like that. It's something, that's
Right.
more man-like.
Yeah.
But, do you have the other picture?
What other picture?
Well, anyway,
hold
there, so as Brandon is right there, he is 6'4". He's your height.
Yeah.
Right.
He has another photo, the same photo, where he draws a line around himself in that photograph, showing how much wider and taller that figure is.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Jason, he said that it was massive. It was so wide and so tall,
Right.
just squatting there. and he said he said himself being in that spot doesn't do it justice.
I don't see it there, Jason.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can always show it again some
Yeah.
other time. But yeah, it was enough for him to be startled. You know, I'm like, so what the hell is it? If it's not Bigfoot, what the hell is it that's doing it? You
Right.
know?
Right.
So
I mean, that's the only thing that we could come up with is that it was Sasquatch, given the footprints, the screams, the growls, the all the artifacts around the property, and then them seeing that night. What in the hell could it have been?
right.
Mhm.
So this is from the same trip. We're gonna play this part. This is what we caught when we were out roaming around various times throughout. This may have been even the first day or two we were down there. We put a recorder everywhere. There was a recorder sitting on a stationary on a table by the campfire, and something came through while we were out away from the camp. Something came through and let us know it was around. So I'm gonna play that real quick. Hopefully it'll play over this. Oh, hang on. Is it playing?
It's just that we never saw anything like that out there. But given-
I've been to Canada
Right.
a couple times, and I know there's lots. There are tons of bears up there.
But given the
All the times I've
activity,
been there,
yeah,
I've seen a bear once.
man,
I've seen lots of bear pens, food, stuff that got eaten by bears. I don't know.
I know.
How was
just, I mean, just all given all the activity we had
And
there.
bears are curious about camping. They always are.
So you can hear us. I think that's Jeremiah actually off in the distance. We're all out there because we're filming and doing different things closer to the house. But this was, like I said, in our camp on a table. There wasn't any food laid out at the time. So I heard you talking about you thought it's like a bear to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 2 nights later is when I saw a figure walk around the house late
Right.
at night, bipedal, dark,
Yeah.
and all that. I mean, given the evidence of everything that I've seen out there and encountered and witnessed,
Yeah.
I have
I'm
to
not
almost.
trying to
No,
dominate
I know,
anything.
I know.
I
It's-
wasn't there, so all I can do is listen to it and
Right.
form my own
Right.
opinion from somebody
Well-
who wasn't there.
Listening to it too, I could tell where anybody could listen to that and be like, "Man, that's a bear,"
Right.
because that makes the most sense to it. Because I mean, you have that kind of sniffing and kind of sound,
yeah.
you know, yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from because I have things recorded on my recorder of paranormal stuff that if you weren't there, it doesn't sound that fantastic.
Right.
When you
Right.
just listen to it, when somebody that wasn't there just listens to it, they're like, nah.
Right. You're gonna have your
But
skeptics.
somebody that was there was like, dude, that night when that shit happened, holy cow, that was crazy because you were there and it's different when you're
Right. Right.
Right.
And like I said, I was a skeptic before I ever went there. I left with more questions than answers on all the stuff that we
still
experienced.
do. I mean, I
Yeah.
still have questions about. We're still talking about it, so therefore it's
Right.
still a question. You know,
Right.
what the hell was
Right.
that?
Right. And we haven't even got into the meat and potatoes of things because
Right.
I haven't played any of the evidence that we caught
So
in the
next
book.
podcast.
Right. I haven't talked about what happened the second time we were there that made us leave instead of staying the night there.
Yeah, that was.
Um,
Because hopefully you'll be able to play the video of that. The actual.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
And we
I
talked.
want to get into my end of it
Right.
because
Because yours.
I've got so many connections to what happened with you guys, even with stuff that I don't necessarily believe in.
Right. Or you didn't know about.
Well, I didn't know about
Yeah.
it. And yeah, it's
You had to go and you went on your own to.
it's really strange.
Yeah,
It's
so
really strange.
we'll get into that next week too. I'll try to find the video. I have it, and once again, this story writes itself every time we try talking about it. I don't know how many times tonight my thing broke where I couldn't even get the video to pull up or the audio. Or you saw that picture that kept popping up on there. That's not a picture that it's from Tahlequah.
Yeah,
but it's not-
when you IQ
It had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not related at all. Why is it on that screen? Go, you tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyways, it's a great story. Like I said, we'll continue it next week and shit, probably the week after that, because this story goes on for a day. I mean, we've been there so many times that once again, Callahan had to write this book about it.
100th episode.
This book right here, and if you want a copy of it, hit me up. I can send you a copy. We sell them for $20 plus shipping and handling. I can get
It's
it to
worth
you.
it.
Yeah, it's a very thick book too. Oh,
The thing is, you
can't
know,
And it's a good book. That's coming from a guy that has a hard time getting through a whole book. Which is me. I read that whole thing
see. Yeah,
in like a couple days.
I did
It
too,
was
and
really
I lived
good.
it. I did
It was
too.
really good. So,
Yeah,
well,
And-
and the thing is this story actually has a lot of connection to the paranormal and everything we do
right.
on a daily basis with this field.
Yep.
That's
And it still is a part of some of our lives to this day. I mean, for various reasons, whether it be
Yeah.
sickness, illness, to experiences, to you name it. I mean, we're
Right.
still living this story today.
very
Hasn't stopped. It's such a big story that's why the property is under. It should stay with the Indian Cherokee family, but unfortunately, other people outside have seen the potential with this because of the storyline, whatever that they want it for
Right.
themselves. That shouldn't even have a right to it, but that's neither here nor there. So it's under legal things right now. So, but I'm laughing at Carl's.
Yeah.
But no, Jeremiah is definitely in the background. We're talking about.
Yeah.
I want to say this is even when we were setting up things
This is the
for
first night.
the ritual that we did, which we'll play later
Well,
on.
actually, I
next week.
think what it is Jeremiah put it on the table where he had his grill and everything else
Right.
out, and we went off to the house with
Right.
Casey, and we were going to go film
Yeah,
and everything. And while
Right.
we're over there having interaction, because you were the girl
right.
and all that was talking and startled us, and we were
Sure.
actually getting all this interaction that we never thought was going to come from that house.
Yep.
This is happening behind us over by the table.
Yep.
You know?
Unbeknownst to us, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we didn't see any bear prints either. That's another thing too. We should have saw, and hell, if I'd have saw a bear,
The
I would
grass.
have left probably.
It was kind of muddy and a little damp out there and stuff like that. We never saw any sign of that.
Yeah. And this was in April, so I mean they should have been coming out of hibernation possibly.
Oh yeah. they
Yeah,
got
I mean by the time
one.
was it April? Yeah, it was April we were there. This for this recording. I was trying to think of this because one time we were in March and they were still hibernating. I think this time I want to say the bears were out a little earlier because it was getting warmer faster and it was weird. But anyways,
Right.
and they had just reported seeing bears across the canyon, or not canyon, across the river up on top of the mountains that we go to the
Yeah.
caves that are on the opposite mountains. So,
Yeah.
but
It kind of always made me nervous.
yeah,
Just a
So-
little bit, but
so
I
yeah.
haven't dealt with it before.
It's nervous when you're by yourself in the woods of Canada taking a dump with your pants around your ankles. You're like, man, if a bear comes up on me right now, it's just the end of everything.
Right. So that brings the question is, so if a Jake shits in the woods, does a bear? Anyways.
I'd probably find it at some point.
Anywho, all right. Well, this has been Cryptic Heartland Podcast, episode 95. We're going to continue next week with this story in more depth, with more videos, definitely more EVPs playing. We'll have hopefully Dan back next week. Like I said, or if you missed the first part of the podcast, he was in an accident, not coming to the show, but this afternoon, him and his wife. So the car looks pretty rough. As far as I know, Dan's okay. I don't know about his wife quite yet, but I think with
He was saying she was going
Was
to
she?
get checked out, but she was,
yeah.
she was
Yeah.
I think.
But they walked away. That's the most
You're
important
right,
thing. They walked
right,
away.
Right.
With, other than soreness, hopefully,
Yeah.
and nothing too serious. But we'll get more update on that next week, and hopefully he'll be back to give us a little insight. Like I said, but For now, make sure you hit that little bell up in the corner, like, subscribe to our channels. You know, make sure you turn notifications on. That way, when we go live anytime, whether it be for the show or a ghost hunt or
There's a
anything,
lot
you
more
go
of that
live with
coming.
us.
Yeah, just tell your friends. Get on.
Right.
Get on
Spread the
board.
word.
We've got a lot more for you.
Yep. This is the start of many good things, like I said. But we've been doing this for quite a while now, and we're going to continue. So, if you ever want to have anything you want to hear us talk about, make sure you let us know. We'll definitely talk about everything.
Yeah.
Nothing's off the table. We talk about
You can message us anytime, ELP, RTP,
cryptic
any
heartland.
of it,
Yeah.
us, whatever.
Yep. So, but with that being said, we're going to close it out for tonight, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Yep. Thank you guys.